theyeshiva.net. They say a maisa about a Jew. He used to like to drink. He liked drinking. And he would start drinking Rosh Chodesh Adar. And he went till Pesach. It wasn't only Purim. Started 2 weeks before Purim. And he continued a month after Purim. They once asked him, where did you get this heter from? Where did you get this permission to drink for a month and a half from the beginning of Adar? And if it was a leap year, he started from Adar Rishon. The Gemara sagt, the Mishnah sagt, ich ein ben Adar Rishon l'Adar Sheni, Ella, Kriyas HaMegillah Matanas L'Avyonim. But everything else, the same. So he would start Rosh Chodesh Adar Rishon. So where do you get such a behavior from? So this Jew answered as follows. He said, I want to ask you a question. You read in the Megillah that Haman, Hipil Pur Hu Agoyrel, he cast a lot, and he decided, Rachmana Litzlan lahashmid larig o laabed es kol haYehudim minar v'adzak and taven noshim b'yoyim echad. That every Jew under the empire of Achashverosh, from child to an older person, children, women, men, everyone, Chalila, should be exterminated, b'yoyim echad, in one day, Yud Gimel Adar. And the Jew says, I want to ask you a question. What was Haman thinking? Why give it one day? Achashverosh ruled the world. Moshel B'kippur. 127 provinces. He thought he's going to be able to finish the work in one day. In one day, he's going to get rid of every Jew. Why limit it to one day? Give a couple of weeks, give it a couple of months. The Haman of our generation, Yemach Shemoy, the Haman of the previous generation, he gave himself a few years, 5 years, to exterminate the Jewish people. 5 years, 1939 to 6 years, 1939 to 1945. Haman said no. In one day, biyoyim echad, in one day. What was the guy thinking? What if a Jew hides? One day. So this Jew, this, I don't know if we call him, and then they didn't have a name, an alcoholic, but he was a shtickle alcoholic, a shtickle shikker. Chaim Levracha Reb Moshe. This Jew said, I'll tell you the answer. Haman was no dummy. Egven a kluge guy. He was a wise guy, a Gentile, wise man. V'haraya. You see the way he spoke to Achashverosh. The Gemara says, Shabbos hayom, Pesach hayom. He knew a lot about Judaism. It's gedreht by Mordecai. Haman was an educated man. Haman had a hunch that this whole thing may not work. Something in his heart told him, it may work, it may not work out. He wasn't dumb. He had a feeling that the ganze Maisa, the whole plot won't work. And if it won't work, what's going to happen? The Jewish people are going to turn this day and this time into the greatest feast ever for the miracle of their salvation. So Haman thought, if I plan this genocide for a month or 2 months or 3 months, feasting and loving each other and being happy for 3 months, this he couldn't tolerate. So he decided, you know what? We'll do it all in one day. Worst comes to worst, doesn't happen. They'll party for one day. The rest of the year, they'll be miserable again. They'll be anxious and stressed and overwhelmed and have issues. But one day they'll party. So this shikir says, V'baldas Haman is given a Rosh Merusha. And he didn't forgive. He didn't forgive Jews to party more than one day. I have to be the victim of it. I'm not going to be a victim of Haman's stinginess that Jews to celebrate. You guys are fallen prey to his plot. Even your Purim is defined by Haman. I'm not going to let my Purim be defined by Haman. Ich will trinken, oder Rishon, oder Sheni, Nissen. I'm going to celebrate for months. And if possible, I'll do it all year. I'll do it. That's the way it was supposed to be. He didn't forgive us a party. That's not my problem. I saw that the Chidushei Harim, first Ger Rebbe, Rabbi Shemeir of Ger, said over this story, this vart, from this Jew, and extolled it, the insight of this person. What is he really saying? What he's really saying is that just because Haman was stingy on Jewish joy, and he didn't want to create a potential for Purim more than one day, we shouldn't fall prey to that. So B'meila, Mitzay Purim, you can be mamshech the simcha, a day after Purim, 2 days after Purim, the continuation after Purim. You could continue the simcha. You could continue the joy. You don't have to be a victim of Haman's stinginess that the Jewish people should not celebrate. On Purim, people are warm, they smile, they embrace each other. Okay, I know with the corona, there were different types of embraces, but at least the machshava tova, and some people wasn't only with machshava tova, was b'maisa. On Purim, people are festive. You go into somebody's house uninvited, you kiss each other, people forgive each other, they embrace each other, they celebrate with each other. No, so just because Haman couldn't forgive it for more than one day, we have to suffer for that. So may I tell you tonight, you also don't have to be stingy with your warmth and love, and tomorrow also not, and the next day also not, and the next month, and 2 months later, and 3 months later. You have to know was ja und was nicht. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim.
It's so beautiful. I love the door Vela Yaakov. It's so beautiful. I love the door Vela Yaakov. Give on the way. It's so beautiful. I love the door Vela Yaakov. Give on the way. It's so beautiful. I love the door Vela Yaakov. It's so beautiful. I love the door Vela Yaakov. Give on the da bruda bervela yak imano ke
Hey bona mitanege ya 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 bye 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 ya bye 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 ya bye the bottom ya bye bye yeah, it's good for your knee da 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 ya 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 the bezil sag khayem da 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 ya ba ya the balkhana sag khayem for the shiva the small birin boy ya 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 bye bye ya hey bye bye ya bye 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 ya bye ya bye ya bye ya bye khayemai ba 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 ya ba yo yeda ba yo ya ba yo yeda ya ba boy yo yeda yes nastig trinkt sich was al men ta nasse daven sich oh yes schlaf sich was al men ta nasse leden sich nicht essen sich trinkt was al men ta nasse daven sich oh yes schlaf was al men ta aselaren sich nicht. Abaya yebam, abaya yebam, ayebaba, abaya yedam, abaya yebam, abaya yedam, ayebaba. Yabaya yedam, yabayo yedam, ayababa, yabayo yedam, yabaya yebam, abayo yedam, yababo. Chaim, 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 Chaim. Chaim. Ubsuma b'yayin, nicht b'mayim. L'cha v'avayim, l'cha l'cha v'avayim, l'cha v'avayim. Chutz l'machana. So there was a bacher today who came to my house with his yeshiva. They were dancing, sitting a little bit. So the bacher asked a question at the table this afternoon. Purim, he asked a question. It was a good question. Everybody knows, the one Gemara everybody knows from Masechta Megillah, Daf Zayin. Daf Zayin Amid Beis, Bayayim Ashvi, Ketov Lev HaMalach Bayayin is Daf Zayin. Amar Rava, Daf Zayin, Bayayim Ashvi, 7th Daf, 7th day. Tu Zagden again. Amar Rava, Mechayev inish lebesume bepuria, adela yada beinar Haman lebarach Mordecai. A person is obligated to become inebriated on Purim until he doesn't know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordecai. Atkan. So the yeshiva bacher, the yeshiva boy, says to me, he says, where did Rava come up with this? Is there a pasuk? Is there a mishnah? Rabbi was an Amoira. Lived many hundreds of years after the story of Purim. Story of Purim happened before the beginning of Bayis Sheni, after the destruction, around 70 years, a little less than after the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash. After that, there was 420 years of the Beis HaMikdash. And a few hundred years later, after the Churban of the Temple, lived Rava. Before that, there was a Megillah Esther that was written by the Anshe Knesset Agdola and Mordecai and Esther mainly, Kasvuni, Ladeiris. There's Mishnayos Masechta Megillah. There's a lot of halachas about Purim. There's reading the Megillah, and there's Matanas Lavyanim, and there's Mishta V'Simcha, to have a Suda, and to be B'Simcha. Comes Rava hundreds of years later, and says, I want to tell you something else. You're mechuyev on Purim to drink l'besume b'puria adela yada. From where? From what? From when? This is his own chiddush. This comes from before. Obviously, Rava can't be mechadash a new halacha, a new mitzvah. The mitzvah of the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. Rava was articulating. He was saying something. He was articulating on the Nekudah of Purim. The raya is that right after that, the Gemara brings a story that Rabbi and the Bezeda had a meal, and come Rabbi, the Shachtel of the Bezeda, the one other Gemara people know. Come Rabbi stood up and so he went ganz lebedik. Rabbi was before Rava. Rava was a colleague of Abaye who was a student and an adopted. He was raised by Rabbi. That means already before Rava there was the Musik. So I'm going to ask you a little quiz tonight. The quiz is, who was the first person to do Adal Hayada on Purim, or connected to Purim, and who told this person to do Adal Hayada? Noach did it, but not on Purim. If I'm not mistaken, Noach was before Purim. Maybe Adal Hayada, Noach is after Purim. Yeah. Achashverosh also did it, Ketov Lev HaMelech Bayayin, but that was before Purim. I want to know somebody who did. Where did Haman do it? Where did Haman's daughter do it? She threw the garbage. That's Adal Hayada. That was gerade Geschmack Zach. So I'm going to answer you the question. The person who instituted Adal Hayada on Purim was Mordecai. And the first person to do Adal Hayada was Esther. You were right. This Bachel was right.
He pledged it.
100%. You're going to make a lot of money, and you'll give more than $1,000 to yeshiva. You'll give much more than $1,000 to yeshiva. You'll become the president of the board, and you'll be responsible for all the debt. It'll be a lot more than $1,000, my dear boy. Pesher Chaim doesn't have a board. I'm talking about your yeshiva. Where did Esther do Adal Hayada, and Mordecai was the first one to institute it? So this is a deep word. B'shas Mordecai told Esther to go to Achashverosh after the decree and plead with him, to save her people. Esther refused. She declined. She said, Kol Avdei HaMelech, all the servants know that if you go into the king without permission, and he does not stretch out his scepter, achas dosei lahamis, you come out with a head shorter. V'ani lo nikresi al hamelech ze shloshim yom. It's been 30 days that I wasn't called to the king. What is she telling Mordecai? This is going to be a futile mission. You want me to go in and convince him to save the Jewish people. What's going to be achieved is I'll go in, jeopardize my own life, and I may come out in a coffin. So what will be the effect? The Jews won't be saved, and I'll also be dead. You're dealing with a man that if you come in without permission, he can kill you. And everyone, of course, knows the background of what she's saying. She doesn't have to say it. How his first wife was eliminated. His first wife didn't die a natural death. She died because she disobeyed what he wanted. It was years before, but who forgot that story? That's the background of what she's saying. Here, even if you don't disobey, you're walking without permission. The man kills you. He may stretch out the scepter, he may not. So you're telling me to go into him, Mordecai, this is a useless mission. The Jews might die, Chalila, and I'll also be dead. And what's going to happen? So you'll be left without me in the White House, in the palace, in the Shushan White House.
She was afraid.
It doesn't say she was afraid, but it says this was her message. What does Mordecai respond? Not a Esther was a smart woman. This is a good answer. What does Mordecai respond? His response is a fascinating response. We once gave a whole shir on the details of his response. Purim shir. But I want to focus on the Adulayad. He tells her the first thing is, Al tadami b'nafshech li'molid beis hamelech. Don't think you're going to escape the fate of the Jews. That's the first thing. Don't think, bist a Feinschmecker, you're married to the king, and you're going to remain secure. You're not going to be able to extricate yourself from Klal Yisrael. That's the first thing. Second thing he tells her is, Ki, im hachareish tacharishi, ba'ais hazois. If you're going to be quiet now and do nothing, passive, the Jews will be saved from elsewhere, which you would think is a counterproductive point to tell her. Because if you tell her, oh, we're going to be saved anyway, okay, so get saved anyway. So what do you need me for? Let me go on vacation. Yeah, but fine. But then he continues. The Jews will be saved. But the Jews will be saved, but you and your father's home will perish. Tovedu. You're going to lose the opportunity. And then he says his last statement. What's his last statement? Umi yoideya im la'es kazoi sigat lamalchus. And who knows, according to the Even Ezra's Taich, if this is not the reason why you have reached the palace. Who knows if it's not for this moment that you have arrived at this position, Igat Lamalchus. Who knows? In other words, Mordecai seems to be telling her, this is why the Rebbeinu Shalom orchestrated you should be taken as a queen. It was for this moment. You can't escape this fate. You can't flee. This is the moment. This is your moment. This is Esther's moment. But then you would think Mordecai would tell her, not who knows, I know that this is the reason, or we know, or God knows, or certainly it's the reason. What does miyadeh in English when you say who knows? What does it mean? People say, when will the coronavirus be over? And what do people answer? Who knows? Who knows? Miyadeh, who knows? Echad miyadeh, you remember? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. And Esther will say, okay, if you're not sure, I'm certainly not sure. I'm telling you. Miyadeh is a suffix. Maybe yeah, maybe not. Dabei Munich the Herst, Herves Tutzich. Mordecai was telling Esther something very profound. Esther had a taina. What was Esther's taina? Esther's complaint was, how do I come into this? How do I end up in this mess? Esther tells Mordecai, I was a Beis Yaakov girl, Beis Yaakov Muncie valedictorian. I have a brother who learns in the mirror for 9 years, Esther says. Another brother like you is in Brisk for 6 years. Another brother who's in Lakewood. I have a brother like you who gives a daf yomi shir 4 times a day. Yeah. Look at my family. The trajectory of my life was not to end up mit ashikir goy in Shushan. How do I end up in the palace? I don't understand. What am I doing here? And you know what Mordecai told her? On this, Mordecai had one word to say. Mi yodeya. Mi yodeya doesn't mean who knows, I don't know. Mi yodeya means this is a moment that's higher than das. Mi yodeya, you will not be able to figure this out through das. If you're going to go with das, with regular cold mathematical intellect, you will not be able to wrap your brain around this, because logically it does not make sense why a girl like Esther Hamalka ends up in this place. So what's Mordecai telling her? Mi Yodeya. There are some moments in life, the mission of a soul is not based always on das. Ashreinu matoyev chalkeinu umanoyim goyrolenu. V'hu b'chines ha-goyrel. What's a goyrel? Purim is goyrel. What's a goyrel? A goyrel is l'mayla min hadas. A goyrel is not das. What's a goyrel? A lot. Why did you get this? Why were you zeicha b'goyrel? Makes sense. Doesn't make sense. If you go with sense and logic, you'll never understand this, Esther. Mordecai was the first one to tell Esther now is a moment of ad the loyada. Miyadea. Rava was reading the Megillah. Rava didn't come up with ad the loyada from nowhere. Rava read the Megillah. Rava heard the Megillah. Mordecai tells Esther Miyadea, it's a moment that's higher than das. Beyond das. It transcends das. Al pi seichel, you're not going to figure out why your soul belongs there. But your mission is not always intellectual. The relationship that you have with life and the unique destiny that God gives you is not something you can always figure out with your intellect. Your approach sometimes has to be miyadei, it's beyond my das and it's beyond your das. When Mordecai tells, and it's beyond, it's rooted in a place in Hashem that's beyond das. Not rooted in intellectual clarity that your brain can wrap itself around. When Esther heard this, Mordecai triggered within her the first Adaloyada. She went beyond her das. She went into the palace. Al pi das, there were a lot of questions. She went beyond das. She did Adaloyada. She transcended her day. She went in. And the miracle of Purim happened. Rava says, so how you celebrate Purim? Mechayev vinish l'psuma b'puria ad l'yada. To be able to go to a place of miyadeya. L'chayim, l'chayim, l'chayim. Soll schön sein die Geula, soll schön sein die Geula, soll schön sein die Geula. Mashiach soll schön kommen. Soll schön sein die Geula, soll schön sein die Geula, soll schön sein die Geula. Get up right now! Rabbi Shuren sagt l'chaim. Fein Seiden, for Reb Doiv bei Rivkin, sich rennen levrache. Fein Seiden. Chaim, give Rabbi Shuren l'chaim. Reb Avram, mit Afasai Mashken. Ki yoanu amecha, v'yato Elokeinu. Yoanu banecha, v'yato Avinu. Ki yoanu amecha, v'yato L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, Reb Shalom, l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. I want to bless everybody that it should be a year of miyodeya, a year of adaloyada. So what does l'chaim, 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 Rabbi Shuren, l'chaim? L'chaim, l'zakt l'chaim.
I can have water from vodka.
What does this mean practically? What does it mean practically in people's lives? He has an artistic soul. He has an artistic soul. Schon gemacht an Akira, das machen nachher noch. Das ist ein Problem. Hast gemacht an Akira, das ist nicht gemacht an nachher. Hat gemacht an Akira, nicht gemacht an nachher. You have a lot of chevra. They come and learn, and they come to learn. An Akira they made, but a Hanocha they didn't make. Verstehst? An Akira they made.
They make Akira.
But there's no Hanocha, there's nicht Kemalacha.
They're still flying, they're still flying.
Darf doch sein Klute. Ich weiß, was ich darf, ja, mit der Rebbe sag ich ihm, hat gemacht an Akira, nicht kein Hanocha.
Aber no, let's Rabbi holds if it's fire.
I'm talking about you, not Rebbe. Rebbe hat gemacht an Hanocha. Du hast nicht gemacht an Hanocha.
I'm not making Hanocha.
We know that. That's the problem.
I didn't make Hanocha in such a gewalt.
I'm afraid you didn't make an Akira also.
That's
I need a nigga, I need a nigga.
L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
L'chaim.
How you doing, Rabbi?
Rabbi Moses, sag l'chaim, for ganz Visionitz. Sag l'chaim. For ganz Visionitz, in Eretz Yisrael.
What?
Und für die ganze Likud.
Yeah, Mazel Tov everyone on the Purim, and Mazel Tov Rabbi. Thank you for having me.
Huh?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm not having you, but you're
It's a
welcome.
pleasure to be here. I'm happy I got the mic.
Baruch
I know I
Hashem.
have the mic because I can hear myself on the mic.
Gewaldig.
I can hear myself on the
So
mic.
what does all this mean practically in people's lives? Who is it, Moshe? It means as follows. Was soll ich tun? Mit der Niggin. You want a budget to Niggin? Kol Bali Ashir, Yoitzim B'Shiv and Shachem B'Shir.
Oh, you can vowel. Say with the Mishnah. You need a fly. Say the mice. Say the mice.
What does this mean practically? What does Adalayada Miyadeya mean in people's lives? It means a lot of things, but the first thing it means is that sometimes when you look at your life, you see things that logically you ask yourself, why did this end up in my lap?
Is it ugly?
Like Esther Hamalka. Why did this end up? It wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't part of the trajectory, as they say. It wasn't part of the vision. And if you try to capture it with das, there's a group of people in Florida who are with us here now, not physically but virtually. If they ask themselves, and they know who I'm talking about because they're watching it right now, if they ask themselves, how did we end up in this place? And why did we end up in this place? What's the difference between me and my brother? Me and my sister. My sister and brother didn't have to go through this. And I had to go through this. Why did we have to end up in this place? Why did we have to go through all this pain and recovery and the anxiety and the addiction and everything else? And if you answer this question with das, you'll never be able to answer it. Because logically, there's no reason for it. Every person sitting here or with us from wherever they are, in Manchester, in Atlanta, in Miami, in Japan, wherever, it's Israel. Everybody knows there's things in your life that in Hebrew there's a word tachnit. It's kafiyah tachnit. It's according to plan. But then there's what you call curveballs, or what they call today coronaviruses. So an unshikenish. Corona machanigin of the corona. Gam charvoina, yeah. Yeah. There was a sign I saw in one shul that we're dealing now with achas virus, and therefore wash the hand. I saw one of the signs. Okay. You look at certain aspects of your life, it wasn't expected, it wasn't anticipated. It's not part of your birurim. It's not what you think you should be dealing with. Sometimes it has to do with an issue with yourself, or with your marriage, or with a child, or with some of your children, or with your psychological, or emotional, or spiritual, or financial reality, or sometimes something that happened in your youth that you have to deal with. And you ask like Esther, how did I end up in this mess? What does it have to do with me? It could be an issue with health, an issue with mental health, sometimes with yourself or with a loved one. And if you try to answer this question with das, with seichel, you're going to get stuck. This is a moment that you need a pchina of miyedeya. What's miyedeya? Miyedeya means you have to open yourself up to the infinity of God and to the infinity of your soul. And you have to understand that sometimes the deepest missions of your neshama are completely beyond das. Because the soul is rooted in the etzem of Hashem, who is also beyond das. And sometimes there's a mission that's connected to your soul, and you're not going to be able to figure it out intellectually. And if you get stuck in brain games and context, you're going to get stuck. You have to open yourself up to the emes that it's a pchina of lebesume bepuraya adalayada. And then what happens? Everyone has in their lives two different parts. There's a part of your life, you look at it, and you say, Baruch Mordecai. It's a geschmack. Baruch Mordecai. This is a bracha in my life. You look at certain parts of your life and you say, this is a blessing. Baruch Mordecai. Baruch Hashem. What's Mordecai? Mordecai sagt the Gemara in Chulin Kuf Lametes. Mordecai min atayre minayin. Shenemar. Va'ata kach lecha psamim roish. Mordroir. Umetargeminen. Meidadachya. What's Meidadachya? Meidadachya, the Gemara says in Megillah, Moir, what they used for the Shemen HaMishcha, had an unbelievable fragrance. Whether the pshat is musk, the musk perfume, or oil, olives that didn't reach a third, they're not even ripe a third, and they have a gewaldige fragrance, a gewaldige impact. But it's a tremendous fragrance. Baruch Mordecai means, this smells good. It gives off such a beautiful flavor in my life. But there's other parts of your life, you look at it and you want to say on them what? Or Haman. This is a curse. This belongs to Haman. This is the curse of a person's life. This is because of my stupidity, the mistakes I made as an 18-year-old kid, and therefore I ended up here. Or it's because of certain things that happened that you would have never expected, you would have never chosen. These are things in your life, you look at it and you say, Or Haman. This is a curse of Haman. What's the chiddush of Purim? Chayiv inish l'besume b'puraya ad lo yada ben Or Haman l'barach Mordechai. When you reach a place of ad lo yada, when you reach the place of miyodeya, then there's no difference between the two parts of your life. Because you realize that you're on a shlichus. Your soul has a mission. And some souls are sent into difficult places because their job is to bring in Atzmus, Ein Sof, Baruch Hu into those places. To bring in the light into those places. So you'll say, but this is horrible. And I wouldn't wish it on my enemies. And what do I have to deal with this tzara and with this challenge? So painful it is. And a challenge it is. But chas v'shalom, you should surrender to Yiyush, to despair. Because Yiyush, zog the Gemara, Yiyush, shaloi midas. What's pshat Yiyush, shaloi midas? So I once heard from the Rabbi of Farbrengen, he gave a scream, he said, Yiyush is shaloi midas. A Yid has Yiyush because there's no das. That's lamata min adas. Yiyush comes lamata min adas. When there's no das, there's Yiyush. But that's no das, you're lower than das. Nimshal kabehemis nidmu. We're talking about adaloyada, lamayla min adas. Very different. So very, very different. Huh? I don't know, the Fitcher Ben Shimon is Alam Natseich Ben Guinness. The Chevra want a little chords. Lam Natseich Ben Guinness Mizmer Shir. Maske Livnei Kairach. When a person touches a place of Ada Lo Yada, then every part of their life is a blessing. Every part of your life is a blessing. You don't look and you say, why do I have to deal with this type of child? Or why do I have to deal with this type of situation? You see yourself and you understand that your neshama was sent down in order to confront this challenge because shluchai shel adam k'maisai. You're a shliach of Hashem. You're an ambassador of the divine. An ambassador of
light, love, and hope.
An ambassador of light, love, and hope, and healing, and redemption. You're an ambassador. You were sent particularly to this place in order to bring light there. So, Mel, there's no such a thing, my life is cursed, Chalila, or my life is impossible, or my life is a klola, or my life is a Nebuch case, and I wish I can have another person's life. That's because you're stuck in your yada. If you go to the place of miyodeya, Esther was Molei Simcha. Miyodeya. Esther, I can't tell you. Ashreinu matov chalkeinu manoyim goyraleinu. Your goyrel is noyim. What's noyim? Noyim means sweet. V'hinoyam Hashem Elokeinu. Pleasant. Noyam. Noyam means pleasant. It's a b'china of manoyim goyraleinu. What's goyrel? Goyrel is, it says in Tanya, Geras HaKodesh Siman Zayin. The Gemara says, Avuch b'may havazoyer tfei. The Gemara says, he asked, which mitzvah was your father Zohir Tfei? So Alter Rebbe teaches Zohir literally means Zohir, careful, but Zohir comes from the word Zohar, light. Which mitzvah was the channel of the light of his neshama? Every neshama has its unique shlichus, its unique mission in this world. When a person reaches Ada Lo Yada, then you look at your entire life, and instead of complaining, and asking what if, and I could have done this, and I could have done that, and I should have done that, and then I would have avoided all these problems. Okay. Where is that going to get you? It's going to get you to a place of depression and yiyush. On Purim, you have to reach a place of Adaloyada Benaran Hamal Baruch Mordecai. When you reach a chin of Adaloyada, then you understand that with Das, maybe you didn't understand it. Don't go with Das. If you go with Das, you're going to get stuck. The Hester Basril. Open yourself up to Lamayla Min Das. And then you understand that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And what you're dealing with is exactly what your neshama is equipped to deal with in order to reveal the Ein Sof, in order to reveal the light and the love and the hope right there in that place. It doesn't mean it's a mitzvah to go into Achashverosh's palace if you're not sent there. You don't say Echta v'Oshev. You don't go into problematic situations. But it means that everything I'm confronting in my life, inside me or inside you, sometimes it looks like it's an inyan of Arar Haman. But when you come to Adal Layada Miyadeya, then you realize that your soul was given a mission and was given the tools and was given the resources to be able to look at that situation of life, and even if it feels, and Ataka feels very, very difficult and overwhelming, take a deep breath and acknowledge that, and don't try to figure it out. Go to a place of Adalayada, and suddenly you will discover that it's all one. It's all part of your shlichus of the neshama, and you can do it with simcha, and you're going to create a v'napechu of la Yehudim hoysa oira v'simcha v'sasim v'kar l'chayim 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 l'chayim. So the emes is, you could do the chords. The emes is, it's a moededike vart from the Balatanya. It's already also another svarim of Talmidei Baal Shem Tov and later generations as well. Sifrei Machshava, Sifrei Chassidus. The Gemara says in Chulim, Kuf Lametes, Tav Kuf Lametes, Haman min ha-Torah minayin. What's the source of Haman in Torah? Shenemar Hamina Eitz Hazeh, Asher Tzivisicha lebilti echel memenu achalta. After Adam and Chava eat from the tree, he says, from the tree that I told you not to eat, you ate. Hamin means from. Hamin is Hey Mem Nun. It's the same letters like Haman. So that's the source of Haman in Torah. Hamina Eitz Hazeh, which apparently at first glance is a very strange comparison. But the truth is, according to what we explained, it's very clear. Purim is the victory over Haman. Haman is the B'chin of Eitz Hadas. Das. Hamin Ha'etz Hazeh. You're eating from this tree. But Purim is the B'chin of Adalayada. It's the yin of Miyadeya. So you have to go deeper than the Eitz Hadas. The Eitz Hadas is a place where there's Tov and there's Ra. There's Arar Haman and there's Baruch Mordecai. Even if it's Tov, it's It's in the orbit of Taiver Na. That's all Hamina Eitz you ate from this tree. But on Purim, you have to go to a place that's higher than the Eitz Hadas. I say you have to, I don't mean you have to, I mean you could. Well, you have to, you could. You know what I mean?
It's nice.
When you say you have to, right away it triggers the guilt by everybody and the trauma. Let me run the show. You don't have to, you can. You don't have to. But you're not. You can. Much better to say you can. What's Pshat Chayev Inish? What's Pshat Chayev Inish? If Torah says Chayev, it means you can. Verstehst? Tracht a bisschen wegen dem. If Torah says Chayev, it means you can. That's what it means. You could do it. It's shaykh to you. It's in your realm. If not, you can't say Chayev Inish. Chayev Inish is the kenst. What does it mean to go to a place before the Eitz Hadas? How can we go to a place before the Eitz Hadas? Chigessen from the Eitz Hadas. So what's the union of the Eitz Hadas? The Eitz Hadas, Balatanya explains, is the Eitz, the tree that created the hergish of self. It's the feeling of I, what we call in English self-consciousness. We learned in the Maimah L'Siyah Meshakel and Parshas Mishpatim and Torah Ur that Eitz Hadas is a person says, this is what makes me feel good, this is what makes me feel bad, this is what I'm missing. This could be very positive. In fact, we encourage it. You should know what you're missing. You should know what makes you feel bad, what makes you feel good. True. It's all true. But the Shayrish Hadvarim is the Eitz Hadas. Why? Because pre-Eitz Hadas, the hergish of this is what makes me feel good or makes me feel bad couldn't exist. The reason it couldn't exist is because the eye of the person was simply a conduit for the eye of Hashem. What's the beginning of the Nefillah? What's the beginning of Eitz Hadas? What's the beginning of Haman? It doesn't begin with evil and negativity. It begins with something much more subtle, and that's self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is that I feel the I as a separate being, as a separate identity. And now I have to figure out what the I needs. On Purim, you could liberate yourself from this. Imagine. The shir, I gave a mashal. People go to a chasana, yeah? Remember my mashal? People go to a wedding. Yeah, and they're standing there. Should I dance with the chassan? What is he going to think if I go into the circle? Am I chashav enough? And what if somebody else comes over? It's going to be strange. Yeah? Well, we live in our heads. You're not living. You're narrating your own life. You're like a narrator. Okay, so now I'll say this. So now I'll do this. We're not living. We are watching our own life. You're observing your life. You're not living. Rabbi Munitz, versteht was ich sag? We can sich befreien von them. You think we could liberate ourselves from this? I'm living in my head. I'm not living in life. I told the Maisa, somebody, I remember I was a bacher, somebody came to the Rebbe, to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he said, "Wie filter sich?" Which in Yiddish means how you're feeling. But translating is, how do you feel yourself? So he said, "As me feel sich is schon nicht gut." If you feel zich, if you feel yourself, it's already not healthy. And he gave a beautiful explanation. He said, the Rebbe said, that when somebody's body is very healthy, you don't feel it. When do you feel your body? Think about it. If your body is in optimal health and optimal shape, it's light. You don't feel it. Yeah, even so, you run the marathon or you do a workout for a few hours afterwards, you don't feel your body. Yeah, it should be the opposite. When you're feeling good, you should feel your feet, you should feel your heart, you should feel your head, you should feel your hands. The moment you start feeling your hand, your pinky, what does it mean? It means it got cut. It means it's an infection, chas v'shalom. You're feeling your heart, you go to the doctor. They send you to the ER. You start feeling your brains, yeah? You start feeling your head. You have a migraine headache. You start feeling your throat, yeah? Virus. You're feeling your throat. What? You're not supposed to feel anything. When you're healthy, you don't feel anything. Why? The answer is because a healthy body is a body that's completely bottled to the neshama. It's a tzinner, it's a conduit for the soul. The whole body is a conduit for the electricity of the body. When the energy flows through the body, the whole physical body is just a conduit, a lavush, a channel through which the soul manifests itself. It doesn't have an independent identity. When does the body have its own hergish? When you're sick, chas v'shalom. And the more sick a person is, the more the hergish is. The more hergish, the more sickness. The less hergish, the less sickness. And even if it's not feeling pain, even if it's just feeling, you feel heavy, lethargic, you feel heavy, because you're not in good shape. When you're in good shape, you don't feel heavy, you feel light, you don't feel. And when you're in the ultimate shape, you don't feel anything. We all understand this. So that's what the Rebbe told them, as me filled zich is shenish good. It means you're sick. So you have a physical illness. Sometimes you have an emotional illness. Emotional illness means I feel the I. And because I feel the I, so it means I'm detached. I'm detached from who I really am. Who am I really? Who are you really? You're really a conduit for Ein Sof. You're chelik elikami mal mamish. You're a piece of elikus. It doesn't mean your body is weak because you don't feel it. It means it's really good because you don't feel it. When you don't feel yourself, it means you're much more powerful. You're in shape. What's pshat? You're in shape. You're aligned with infinity. The problem is that Chava and Adam ate from the Eitz Hadas. So this is already a chiddush. As chayev inishlo besuma beporaya ad lo yada, Haman is min ha'etz, and you could go to a place of lo yada, beyond the Eitz Hadas. Now yada inish benafshe, you can go to that place. Can I really go to that place? So that's why people think that ad lo yada happens through drinking. You know who made that mistake? Noach. Noach thought Adalayada through drinking. You'll drink, you'll get drunk, and you don't feel yourself. When people are drunk, the Bachrim are drunk, they come, they kiss you. A day after Purim, they won't look at you. But when they're drunk, they kiss you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Gewalt. L'mashal him. You know what I mean? That's Noach. Noach hat sich angetrunken. Yeah. Huh? Darfst du sagen? He has potential, aber man darf ihm wahr sein ein bisschen. Das sagst du gut. So Noach decided he'll drink. You want, man darf haben Pneume, ist nicht Chitzayne. Huh? You have to reach a place as wert is an Echanigin. Sie wissen ob Sanigin. Wert is an Echanigin. Huh? You can't get stuck in the Tzir von Anigin. The ganze Leben is Anigin. Ashira Lashem b'chayoi. Azamra l'lekai b'yoidi. Zmira sayi l'chukacha b'veis megura. What's Ashira Lashem b'chayoi? The whole life is a shira. The whole life is a song. Not Ashir Lashem b'chayoi during my life. B'chayoi is Beis HaShimush, with my life. You sing to Hashem with your life. The whole life is a niggin. The Herst, what's a niggin? A niggin has higher notes, lower notes. A niggin is a niggin. The whole life is a niggin. Ashir Lashem b'chayoi. With your life you sing. The Leben is a niggin. You wake up in the morning, zingt man. Geht schlafen, zingt man. Okay, so we help my Noach. So Noach decided Adalayada will drink. What was the problem? Problem is you wake up a day after Purim. There'll be yesh. There'll be yesh. The same toxicity, the same self-consciousness. Nafshi b'she'losi v'ami b'vakashosi. Nu, mit Hanigin. Na ba ya ba ya. Na ya ba ba ya ba ba yo ye do ye do. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim. Shalom ber l'chaim. L'chaim. Look, Sanoyach got drunk, but it didn't work. Doesn't work. Never works. Because you're just escaping the problem. You're not dealing with it. Noach wanted to fix everything. We understand him. It says in Gemara, one shit is that Eitz Hadas was geffen. It was a vine. So Noach thought he'll take a drink the geffen, and he'll reach a place where bi'ada lo yada vayizgal b'toicha haloi. Noach was without clothes, just like Adam and Chava before they ate Sadas, Amachaya. Beautiful. What was the mistake? It didn't work. The mistake was, he says the mistake is as getrunken allein. Rabbi Yaakov says the mistake was at getrunken ananigin. You say he drank alone, and he says he wasn't singing Shas Maisa. Stama, you're both right. Yeah. The emes is, the problem was as at Nishgala and Chassidus. That was the problem. But it's a fact that getrunken allein and getrunken on a nigger. It's the same problem Rabbi Yaakov has. Rabbi Yaakov had this other problem. A gute Yid, a feine neshama. A ruchni is dik in neshamayach. Aber am leit nish kin chassidus be'iyun yet every day. You can't go out from the Eitz Hadas. It's not your fault. You'll say people who learn do go out from the Eitz Hadas. This is a good to Shaila. But you learn adaita de nafshe every single day. We're talking about the real thing. You learn Primi Satayri, you learn Chassidus, Azay Be'iyun, Be'kavona, Adaita de Nafshe, Ameshach Zman every single day. Everything changes. You have to have a teacher. You can't learn yourself because it's very hard. Most people can't learn themselves. You need Torah Shabbal Peh because when you learn it, it's very abstract, it's hard. It's like starting to learn Gemara yourself. It's impossible. You need a teacher. You need somebody to help you apply the ideas to life. What was the whole Nikud of Chassidus? To bring in Lamaylam and Hadas into Das. We can't go to a place before the Eitz Hadas. Because Adam and Chava ate from the Eitz Hadas. What we accomplish is something even deeper than before the Eitz Hadas. What's deeper? Before the Eitz Hadas, there was no Das. The Chiddush now is, it was, but before Das, it was beyond Das. The Chiddush now is that they ate from the Eitz Hadas. So you have the effect of the Eitz Hadas. But what happens now is, you have to be able to take the self and connect it to that which is beyond the self. And in that sense, it's a deeper aliyah than even before the Eitz Hadas. Before the Eitz Hadas, they were like children run around without clothes. Nobody bothers when your little kid runs around without clothes because he's not self-conscious. When an adult runs around without clothes, people get very upset because they're not supposed to, because they're aware. They're aware of what it means, and they're supposed to be embarrassed. You're supposed to be embarrassed once you hit a certain age. What does the shame come from? The shame comes from you feel yourself. And you feel that there's something that's strange here, that's wrong here. A 1-year-old runs around without clothes, nobody notices it. So I can't ignore that I'm self-conscious and I have an identity and I have an ego. I can't. I have to be able to go to a place to connect my yada to Adel Yada. That's why the Alter Rebbe, the Balatanya, called his shit to Chachma bin Das. Chassidus is not Chachma bin Das. Chassidus is Elikus, it's Ein Sof. But Ein Sof could be experienced in your neshama. That's not the Tachlis. Tachlis, it should be experienced in your Chachma, in your Bin, in your Das, in your identity. In your day-to-day identity as a person, you should be able to experience the Ein Sof. What does this mean practically? Practically, it means that at every moment of your life, you should be able to understand that there is the Eitz Hadas. We have that. I come to the wedding and I'm self-conscious. Every moment of the day, there's a part of me that's self-conscious, that feels me, is worried about me, and I'm busy talking about me and feeling me, because I'm not being me. Because if I would be me, I wouldn't feel me. Because when you're you, you don't feel you. When you're not you, you feel you. The more you feel you, the less you're you. The less free you are. The more inhibited you are. And you have to look what this person says, what that person says, and you're busy narrating in your mind. You're like a narrator. You're telling us, okay, now I experience this, and Mela, now I have to do this, so I shouldn't do this, but maybe I should do this, but what is he going to say? Everything, but the main thing is not to be here. You're like an objective observer, like a fly on the wall watching yourself. And that's how the mind is. It watches itself living. So I have to be able to acknowledge that. And I have to be able to see that it exists. But then, you have to be able to tell yourself, what does this mean? It means that within the Das, within that world where identity is so strong, I can really, truthfully appreciate that it exists, and yet, allow myself to realize that I don't have to be defined by it. I don't have to be defined by that separation. I could go in. You could breathe in and go into a place where you're pre-Eitz Hadas. How do you go into that place? You go into that place through shutting down your critical thinking, telling your brain, okay. There was a Yid I knew, his name was Rabbi Springer. He was a mashpia in yeshiva. So when I was a bach, he was once Farbrengen with us. The Jacob, the Shlavshin. I'm telling a story. Mit Hanigin. I don't know that the Maisa goes with a Nigin, but fine, I'll try. So the Bitcher was Farbrengen with us. The Bitcher Springer is a Chrena Levracha. So this is what he told us. Proven. This is what he told us. There was a Bach, he was Farbrengen with us. So the Bach said he can't wake up in the morning. He was an older Bach, he was 23, 22. He can't wake up in the morning. He used to sleep, he can't wake up. So the Bitcher said, this is what he does. He told us what he does. He was an elder Yid already. He was up in Shivim, up in Shmoinim. So this is what I do. When I wake up in the morning, I also don't want to wake up. So what does he do? He says, I ask myself, who doesn't want to wake up? The Nefesh Bahamas, the animal soul, doesn't want to wake up. So he said, I don't fight. I don't believe in fighting. I don't believe in machlokes. I turn to the Nefesh Bahamas and I say, you know what? Du kannst bleiben im Bett. Ich wechsle auf allein. You could stay in bed, Gesundheit. I'm waking up alone. You could sleep, I'm not fighting with you, I'm not bothering you. Bleib im Bett, Gesundheit. I wake up myself. He says, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You tell the Eitz Hadas. You could continue the tape recorder. Yeah, figure it out, don't figure it out. You're right, you're wrong, you're self-conscious, your ego, you're messed up, you're not messed up, you're healthy, you're almost healthy, you're going to be healthy. You could. I'm not going to fight you, Gesundheit. Figure it out. I'm going to live. I got to live. Somebody got to live. They say in English, somebody got to make a living. The wills fine. You can stay in bed. I don't care. Figure it out. I have to live right now. And you do it, you see it works. You don't fight, because if you fight, you become part of the problem. We don't like to do that. We like to go into mind games. That's the trick of the Eitz Hadas. The trick of Haman is mind games. No, I'll convince you. No, you're not going to convince me. Adalayada. You don't have to convince me. I don't have to convince you. Gesundheit. You could stay in bed. You can argue it out with yourself. There's the famous Batchen, Rabbi Yankele Miller, yeah? Rabbi Yankele Miller. So he has a little bit of a different type of story. You'll see the difference. He says he wakes up in the morning. He also doesn't want to wake up. The Yetzer Tov says, get out of bed. The Yetzer Hara says, don't get out of bed. So he turns to them. He says, listen, you guys fight it out. In the meantime, I'm going to go to sleep. When you figure it out, you let me know and I'll wake up. Okay. That's another way of looking at it. Yeah. The moment you become part of the argument, you're already lost. You're not going to become part of the argument. It's not Eitz Hadas. It's fine. I have in me a part that's an ego, but I don't have to live by that part. I could stay in bed. You want to sleep, sleep. You want to argue. You want to tell me I'm messed up, tell me I'm messed up. You want to tell me I'm depressed, tell me I'm depressed. You want to tell me I'm a narcissist, tell me I'm a narcissist. You want to tell me I'm self-conscious, tell me. And I'm not going to argue with you. You actually have a point too. There's a part of me that's messed up, that's toxic, that's narcissistic. You're actually right. I'm not going to argue. You're right. I get it. We ate from the Eitz Hadas. But I don't have time for you. Somebody got to live. Daf leppen. Daf din in the Meibishter. You have to live. Huh? You have to live. Somebody has to live. So how do you live? You can't live in that place. You can't live. It's a bad place to live. It's confusing. It's toxic. It's problematic. Before you make a call and you make 100 cheshbonos, what is the guy going to think when I call and when I text and when I meet and this? It's all coming from the illness of the Eitz Hadas that you don't realize who you are. You're a shtik ein soif. You're a shtik elikus. About in your teifus. Huh? What's pshat to live with chassidus? You're zeicha to come learn chassidus every morning. What's pshat to live with chassidus? Live with chassidus means when you learn chassidus every single day, what happens at the end? You say people who learn chassidus don't have a Yetzer Hara. They have the same Yetzer Hara. Some of them have even worse Yetzer Haras. What happens is you learn about another perspective. You could see there's another perspective in life. The Rebbe Maharash once said that there's three things in life, three truths in life. As man trinkt, wird man schicker. You drink, you get drunk. Am hat Geld, wird man meshuga. When you have money, you go crazy. You become insane. Am learn chassidus, wird man ausgeedelt. You learn chassidus, you become refined. So the Rebbe Maharash asked on himself, you see that all of the three things are not true. There's people who drink, and they're not drunk. They know how to hold their liquor. Second thing, you see people who have a lot of money. They're nicht meshuga. They're normal. They're gone stable. And he says, you see people who learned a lot of chassidus, and they're not ausgeedelt, they're not refined. They have all their insecurities. So the Rebbe Maharash said, it's not pshat, the principle is not true. It's pshat, there wasn't enough. He said they didn't drink enough. You see people who drank, they're not shikar, they didn't drink enough. They drink more, at some point they become shikar. Money, they have money, they're not crazy, they don't have enough money. At some point you give them enough money, but they're shikar. And he said, chassidus, they didn't learn enough chassidus. They'd learn more chassidus, they would become ausgeedelt. Why? Because chassidus penetrates. I'm talking about real chassidus. I'm not talking about you open a book and you read stam of this. You need a teacher. You need a mentor. You need a teacher because it's hard. It's like I told you, somebody who never learned Yiddish kind of starts learning Gemara suddenly. You must have a teacher. You need a teacher, but you have a teacher. You learn it be'emes, day after day, not once, not twice. Rabbi Engel came the first day to learn. Every morning we learned the Torah of the Balatanya. He came the first day. So he's cynical. He was cynical. because they sold him a lot of boats. The Brooklyn Bridge and the Tappan Zee Bridge and the GW V'chuli and some other bridges. So he came, it felt good, but because it felt good, he became more cynical. Because he said if it feels good, it must be manipulation. If something feels good, you have to know what the agenda is. And then he decided that he's not going to make a decision till 40 days. After 40 days, then he's going to make a decision. No, he's Nebuch's still here. It's a couple of years later, his Nebuch schon reingefallen. I told him it's a pasuk. 40 days, Ninveh gets transformed. You can't make decisions in one day. After Arbayim Yoim, 40 days, Be'iyun. And then the Eir of the Baal Shem Tov, and the Eir, the light of the Alter Rebbe of the Balatanya, the light of all the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, all the way till the light of the Rebbe, it penetrates your neshama. You become a tzaddik hadar, you don't become a tzaddik hadar. You have the same Yetzirah, the Zelbe type, yeah, you have all the good type, all the good types you have. But what? But you have a choice. That's all. Chassidus, I realize, Chassidus gives bchira. Without Chassidus, you don't have bchira. You're a victim of stupidity. With Chassidus, you have bchira. It's not sure you don't know, but you have a Yetzirah, but you have bchira. Bchira is, can sein a nar, can sein a kluge. You could be stupid, you can go to the Eitzadas, you can go to the Eitzachim. At least you have bchira. You know that there's an option. Without it, you don't even know there's an option. We were once sitting in Farbrengen with Rabbi Yoel Khan. I was a young bacher. So he told us, he said, what's the difference of a life with learning Chassidus and not learning Chassidus? He said, what's the difference? Okay, this was a little bit of it was a late night Farbrengen, it was already after midnight. So he was a little blunt. So he said like this. He said, you ever saw a baby? For Michael Zan, yeah? Huh? I'm saying over what I heard from him many years ago. He said, you ever saw a baby? Yeah. Yeah. He has a diaper. You ever change the baby's diaper? Huh? Yeah. Macht sich an, yeah. He defecates in English. Macht sich an, yeah. But for hours, and it's fine. Look, as he's a baby, he doesn't notice. Huh? Verkehrt, he starts cleaning up, he starts crying. Yeah. He says, yeah. She says it's like a person in a sandbox. And he's playing in the sandbox. And the sandbox is filled not with sand, but with excrement. But he likes it. He likes it. You're playing in excrement, but you're enjoying it. He said, this is what he told us. He said, a Yid who learns Chassidus is also playing in the same excrement. He's licked in the same thing. But the only thing is, in his words, weiß das ist Dreck. He knows that it smells. That's it. He's in the same place. He just knows that it smells. And that changes it. Could you get out? It's up to you. You could stay there. It doesn't change you. It just gives you a choice. The Moira Nayim says in Parshas Boy, it says all the Rishonim ask a Shaila, how could Hashem take away the Bechira of Parai? It says, Ani chbadati es libay, I made his heart heavy. He's not going to let you go out, right? I'm going to tell you, Ani aksha slave Parai. So Parai didn't have a choice. If he didn't have a choice, why are you calling him a Rasha? Why are you punishing him? The guy didn't have a choice. Hashem takes away your Koyach HaBechira, so you're a robot. It's like you're blaming a lioness for hunting an antelope. It has a choice. What is the lioness supposed to do? It's programmed that way. So Parai was programmed. So you're going to blame your computer? Your computer's a computer. It's a computer. Hashem put in the program again. That's the big question. The Rambam asks it. The Ramban asks it. Many other Rishonim ask it. The Moira Nayim says something very deep. He says it's not pshat Hashem took away Parai's Koyach HaBechira. He says Parai was the Melech of Golus. He was Meshabed Yidden. Under Parai, Yidden were in Golus. What's the definition of Golus? Definition of Golus is that nobody has Bechira. Why don't you have Bechira? Because you don't have Das. When there's no Das, there's no Bechira. What do we mean Das? Here, we don't mean here Das versus Adaloyada. Here we mean Das is awareness of Elokus. When you're not aware of an alternative, there's no bchira. What makes bchira? Bchira means I'm aware that there's another way of looking at it. Let me give a simple example. If something happened to you as a child that traumatized you, something happened to you as a child, abuse or other things, and you were traumatized. Yeah. You grow up with that trauma. Do you have bchira? You don't have bchira. Why don't you have bchira? You don't even know there's another way of responding. Your wife tells you something, and you respond from a place of trauma. Why do you respond from a place of trauma? Because you don't know any other way to respond. You're hardwired this way. It's like pressing on your iPhone a certain button. It has no way of responding differently. It's programmed. The programmer who programmed the iPhone or the computer, you press escape, and it escapes. You say, don't run away. I can't not run away. Your wife tells you something, or your child tells you something, you escape. Pun intended. You run away. Why? This is my default response. It's already happening since I'm 7 years old. That's how I survive. When I was 7, it expressed itself as a 7-year-old. Today I'm 47, and it expressed itself as a 47-year-old. But it's the same 7-year-old. You just put a 4. It's not a big difference. What gives you bchira? Not that you get rid of your trauma, but that you know that it's trauma. That's it. The moment you know it's trauma, you have bchira. Why? Because you could say, wait. I'm responding now from trauma. Oh, there's another way to respond? Yeah, there's a healthy way to respond. I may not know how to respond that way. Sorry, it may take me 10 years to discover it. But that moment, you went out of Golus. Vani aksha slave parai, yeah? That's the whole Golus. The whole Golus is that there was no bchira. The chiddush of Golus Mitzrayim is not that you're liberated, you're not a Mitzrayim anymore. That you know this is Mitzrayim. Oh, this is Mitzrayim. There's another way. That's what Chassidus does. There's an expression from one of the Rebbes. He said, Chassidus hat herabgenommen, weggenommen den Narr von der Welt. It made people less stupid. What's that less stupid? They're not intelligent. What's the ultimate stupidity of a person? Yeshes. The ultimate stupidity of a person is not that you're stupid, you do stupid things. Nah, das ist gar nicht. The stupidity of a person is that you think you're not stupid. The stupidity of a person is the ich, the verstunkene ich. The ich, that you don't feel ein soif. That's the stupidity. And that Chassidus can't tolerate. What does it do? It doesn't take away your Yetzer Hara. It gives you bchira. You could choose, you could say, there's another way of looking at it. Wow, I don't want to respond from this way. I could choose another way. That changes everything. Do you get rid of das? I ate from the Eitz das, sorry. But you learn that there's something called pre-Eitz das. The Alter Rebbe teaches you something called pre-Eitz das. There's something called not Eitz das. I had the schus, Rabbi Yaakov. Wo is Rabbi Yaakov? The Daf Yomi Magashir. Rabbi Yaakov. Kama Yaakov ikke b'shuka. Ilav hayom de kagarim. Kama Yaakov ikke b'shuka. So what are we going to do to make you in the b'chin of Adalayada? No. How do I know a nigger won't do it for you? Because you're comfortable with it. If you're comfortable with it, it's not Adalayada. Das kannst du verstehen? Nein. If you're comfortable with it, it's nicht Adalayada. Adalayada means, I was once sitting at a Farbrengen, and I heard two Chassidim talking to each other. So one demanded from the other one, to do something. So he turns to me, he says, how do I know that what you're saying is emes? Well, ich will nicht. How do I know that it's true? Well, ich will nicht. Because I'm going to find every excuse to explain that you're wrong. Whatever you're comfortable with is nicht adalayada. Nigin, 100 Nigunim, 1000 Nigunim, Shleima Allah, Shleima Kalbach Nigunim. If you're comfortable with it, it's nicht Adliyah. It's all after the Eitz Hadas.
I thought Adliyah was when you feel real comfortable with it.
Real comfortable.
That's the problem.
What? The problem with what?
That's the problem. I was wondering, what's the problem with Korban? It's too comfortable. It lacks that.
It's good to be comfortable. Comfortable depends what type of comfort. There's a comfortable that keeps you paralyzed, and there's a comfortable that
It's a groove.
it's a different type of comfort.
You're in a groove. You're in a good groove.
It's
Selflessness, that's the victim.
when you're in a place of oneness, you're very comfortable, but it's a different type of comfort. It's not the comfort of laziness, of apathy, of arrogance. A different type of comfort. I'll tell you a maisa. Okay, again, it's one of these maisas. Aber Reb Shmuel will l'chaim, ah? A niggin. Now you're sounding like Reb Yaakov. You want a niggin? Okay. Avoid the bal menagin. I'll tell you a maisa, and nachman singen a niggin. But free kann man sagen l'chaim, l'chaim. Niggin first. Okay. Let me teach you a niggin. But learning a niggin, yeah? Let's do the Hillel's niggin. The Hillel Paritcha was a chassid of the Balatanya, the Mitler, so he has a niggin. I'll teach you the niggin. What's the niggin of Shalom Ber that they sing from the Hillel? It's a Noah niggin. Wie hebt sich gesan? No, a simpler niggin. The Hillel. They sing it. So let me teach them. You will start learning them niggin. Give me the beat for this niggin. I want to teach you a niggin from the Hillel Paritcha. You sing this, it'll be very powerful. Wie hebt zich gaan? Oh, yeda, yo, yeda. Oh, yeda, yo, yeda, oh, yo, yo, yo. Oh, yeda, yeda, yo. Oh, yeda, yo, yeda. Oh, yeda, yo, yeda. I want you to hear this nigga. Now, oh, yeda, ya baba, yo. Ya, 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 ay, ya, ya. Da-da-da-ba, ya, 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 ya. Da-da-ya-ba, ya-ba, ya-ba-ba-ba, yo. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, ya-ba-ba-ba, ya, oh, ya-da, ya-ba-ba, yo. Yo, ya, yo, ya-ba-ba-ba, ya-ba-ba, ya-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba, yo. Lady, oh, ya, da, da. Lady, ya, ya, ya. Lady, da, ya, yo. Lady, da, ya, ya. I want you to hear this tnuah. Ahoy, Rio, Yeda, Yababayo, Rio, Yeda, Abababa, Rio, Yeda, Ababayo, Yeda, Ababayo, Haya Yeda, Yo Yeda, Haya Yo, Yo Yeda, Haya Ya, Lidia, 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 Apnimi is the Kenigin, huh? The Hillel Paricha. Lidio Yeda, ya. The Hillel Meparich. Chosef Balatanya from Mitteler Epotzam Chtzadik. Ya. Lidio Yeda, ya. Lidio No, but a lakus, you can be aware. And of the main thing of Ein Sof. I want to share with you something very special. Rabbi Yaakov Niggen was mit Niggen. The Gemara says, Esther min atayre minayin chulin kataf kuflamatas. Esther min atayre minayin shenemar v'noichi haster aster sponai b'yomahu. Esther in Torah is hinted in the words in Vayelach, the end of Sefer Dvarim. Hashem says, I will hide my face on that day. In other words, Esther is a time of Hester Ponim. The face is hidden. The Hashgacha is hidden. Divine providence is hidden. The only Sefer of Tanakh doesn't have Hashem's name in it. It's Hester. It's a time of hiddenness. The only Sefer of Tanakh that's a story is set outside of Eretz Yisrael. No other Sefer of Tanakh that the story is set outside of Eretz Yisrael. That's the whole story. Not even on Chamisha Chumsha Torah. It's at least the journey to Eretz Yisrael. We're getting ready to go. But Esther is, we're not getting ready to go anywhere. Akati, wie sagt the Gemara Megillah Daf Yudalad, Akati Avdi Achashverosh Shana. And in that moment, a person says, how do I hear the voice of God? How do I see the face of God when it's concealed? Sometimes you look at your life, it's a matzav of haster aster pone b'yomahu. You ever feel that way, Reb Shalom? Reb Moshe says for years. So I come back to that one moment, which is a very powerful moment in life. And that's when Mordecai tells Esther, don't think that because the face is hidden, you have been forgotten or you're not part of a plan. The face is hidden, that's true. Achashverosh is running the world, at least at the surface. The Jews are not anymore independent and that powerful. They're under foreign rule and subjugation. But don't think for a moment that God is not holding your hand. There's a reason you're in the palace. You didn't end up there randomly because Achashverosh, a drunkard, killed his wife, and he needed every woman. He made a woman contest, like a reality show. He made a woman's contest in the Persian Empire, and Esther was never taken. That's not what happened. That's what happened on one level. On another level, it's miyedeim leiskazoisigat lamalchus. Yitaka didn't want it, but there was a divine providence why you should be here at this moment in history. And you never know why. You were taken here, you didn't see the plan, but at some point it becomes clear that you have a mission that nobody before you and nobody after you can fulfill. And I think these words must resonate in our hearts as well. Nobody here is Esther Hamalk in the palace of Achashverosh. Nobody here is Mordecai, the head of the Sanhedrin, telling her these words. But every one of us is is in a particular place. Every one of us comes from a place. We are in a place. And we go to places. Place, I mean physically and also emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Never ever think it's random. You are exactly where you're supposed to be because there's a particular mission that only you can fulfill and nobody else can. You were chosen to be here at this moment, in this place, with these challenges, with these opportunities, with these difficulties, but with these resources, with these obstacles and with these gifts, because there's something that you need to achieve that nobody before you and nobody after you will ever be able to achieve. You say, but I don't see God's face. That's Esther. Haster, Aster, Panebayemahu. But it didn't stop her from the resolve of knowing that God's face may be masked. That's why on Purim we dress up. You know who was the first one to dress up on Purim? The Rabbi Shalom. Who was the first one to put on a mask on Purim, to put on a uniform, to get dressed? Hashem. He was the first one to get dressed up. It looked like the world is a random place run by the Persian Empire and Emperor Achashverosh. But he was dressed up. It didn't stop Esther from knowing and Mordecai from telling her, God may be behind a mask, but he's behind that mask. We're living today in very interesting times. People often look in the mirror and their conclusion is, I'm just a small guy trying to survive. I know a lot of people sitting here around the table. That's your feeling. I have my little job, try to make my ends meet, pay my bills some months. I make ends meet some months. I don't make ends meet. This one is this job, this one is this job. And you look at it, you're just living your life. But that's not the way a Jew lives. A Jew lives with the recognition of Mia Ideya in Leis Kazaisi Gatl Malchus. You don't have to understand it always. I told you Adalayad is much better. You know the Maisa? Gewaldig. Open your hearts. So this story actually, it's about the Balatanya, but I didn't see it in Chabad sources. I saw it in non-Chabad sources. It's interesting. The story is, the Balatanya was at a wedding of a grandchild, and they had a batchen. You know what a batchen is? A joker, a jester. He does rhymes and poems and songs and neginah, wie Rabbi Yaakov sagt, negunim. The Balatanya is there. The Batchen was a Chabadsky chassid, and he had enough seichel not to do Batchonis in front of the Alter Rebbe. What is he going to say? So he took a couple of drinks. He should be able to be himself. And he has to speak to the Balatanya. So he turns to the Alter Rebbe, and this is what he says: Batchonis, with the wedding. It's Batchonis, it's deeper than what some people hear their whole life, but it was Batchonis. He looked at the Balatanya and he says, I was thinking, there's no big difference between you and I. Was ich weiß, weißt ihr euch. What I know, you also know. Was ihr weiß nicht, weiß ich euch nicht. What you don't know, I also don't know. So we're more or less equal. Elamai, Da ein paar Sachen, was weißt und ich weiß nicht. There's a couple of things that you know and I don't know. What I know you also know. What you don't know I also don't know. So what's the difference? We're the same. We're the same playing field. A couple of things, maybe more than a couple of things, that you know and I don't know. So that's the whole difference. But I want to ask you, what is the erech? What is the chashivas? What is the value of what you know relative to what you don't know? What you know, what is that? How much is that relative to what you don't know? And over there we're equal. Say that at that moment, Alter Rebbe started to cry. Zolgu ein of Demoyas. When he said everything you know, how does it compare to what you don't know? Ketipim ben ayam. Like he says in all the Maimarim. Kula kamei kalei chashav. She started to cry. It's the pshat Adelo Yada. Place of Adelo Yada. Over there, you could come to life. Place of Yada. Place of Adelo Yada. That's where life begins. So you don't have to always try to figure it out. Enlightened ignorance is much deeper than knowledge. You know what enlightened ignorance means? Tachlis hayediyah shaloi neidach. The Rishonim say, Rabbi Yosef Alba says, the ultimate knowledge is that I don't know. It's not the ultimate ignorance, it's the ultimate knowledge. The ultimate knowledge is that I don't know. But for that you need yada. To get to Adelo Yada you need yada. If not, bisklata behema. You need yada to be able to get to Adelo Yada. So you look at your life, you say, where's God? Mi yodeya. You have to know every person sitting in this room. And I mean every person sitting here. You take a look at yourself, you have these problems and these challenges, and you face this issue, you're just a small guy. One of the biggest problems I see in the community here, and a lot of religious communities, is how people just look at themselves as insignificant. You're just like another screw in the big company. You're just like, another part of the manufacturing company. It's like, let's just get, we hatch you, we match you, and we dispatch you. And all we want is that you should hatch some new generations. Huh? If you quote. Yeah. The YY raps. The YY could match in a rap. You think I speak about Adelo Yada a whole night? I don't have an ego anymore. You think I don't have an ego anymore? I still have an ego. Okay, you malamet schus. I don't know if you know, when the Alter Rebbe published the Tanya, he worked on Tanya for 20 years, intermittently. The Tanya was published. What happened? And everybody notices. Reb Fitche ben Shimon. What do you say, Fitche ben Shimon? Reb Yaakov, you can applaud him. You can applaud him. I'm not asking you to applaud me. Applaud him. Reb Fitche ben Shimon. You know Ben Shimon? You get to know him. Alter Rebbe published the Tanya. He wrote it 20 years, and he published it without a name. There was no name on it, because he didn't want anybody who should judge the book and say, it's Chassidim, I can't read it. He wouldn't put his name on it. And it went over the world, but without a name. Today, you write over somebody's postcard without permission, they take you to court. He worked in it 20 years and sometimes get passed not to put his name on it, and he was happy that way. That's why the Tanya is still learned today by so many Jews, because there was no name. It's not about him, it's about you. Why are people taken by Chassidus, especially the Alter Rebbe? Because there's no name. It's not about him, it's about you. Right? Huh? You ever feel an ego? Garnished, huh? Stuck in sich. There's no ego. Bittel. Ain't safe. Nachzel in Yanenu. So this is important. You're not stam part of a factory. Mi idea. Every person was given certain kaiches and potentials and placed where you were placed, and you never know this power and the secret behind your mission, and don't underestimate it. This one has a class of children, teaches children every day. This one processes lahavdil, this one processes credit cards. This one is dealing with kitchens and food, a ganze Tag, food. This one geht shiurim mit daf yomi a ganze Tag. This one is a chiropractor. He makes sure that the chiyus goes from the brain and the central nervous system all the way to the 100 billion nerve cells. Did I describe your vocation correctly? Very few people know how to do that. Besides sprouts and kabuchi and everything else. A lot of people do different things. But the Rambam says in Hilchas Tshuva Perek Gimel, he quotes a Gemara in Kedushin, that you have to see the world like a scale. Asa mitzvah achas, one decision I make, one act I can make, can change the world. You say, you, me, come on. Let's face it. It doesn't work that way. But it's not a speculation, it's a very real thing. You never know. 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 You never know, you never know. That's part of Ada Lo Yada. Lo Yada, you never know. You never know. Let's put it this way. Don't limit your life to what you know. If you limit your life to what you know, it's a very small life, because how much do you know? How much do you know? If you open your life to that which you don't know, you live an unlimited life. Open your life to that which you don't know. If you limit your life based on what I know, it's not worth the God says. You open your life to that which you don't know. Yitzias HaShabbos, Shtayim Shenarba B'fnim, Shtayim Shenarba B'chutz. Don't limit your life to Yada. That's Ada Lo Yada. It's not. Don't limit your life to that which you know, because then it's a very small life. So you say, I could tip the scale. Of course you could tip the scale. You were placed in a certain position with a certain shlichus. So you'll say, not me. I'm just a random guy. Just trying to pay my bills. Mordecai said, no. Mi idea. You never know who, you never know when, you never know where, you never know why. Remain present and seize every opportunity to plant seeds, to tip scales. You don't know how things work, how things develop. One word you say to somebody, one thought, one action, one gesture can change lives. And I'm saying this to everybody, living live and virtually. You'll never underestimate the power of a deed, of a word, of a hug, or of an elbow kiss in the days of Corona. But don't underestimate it. And one more truth, my dearest friends. You don't have to change the world to change the world. You don't have to change the world to change the world. Sometimes you just have to change one life to change the world. That's what the Mishnah says in Sanhedrin. Nefesh achas is olam maleh. You touch one life and you change the world. We think you change the world by changing the world. Learn from the Corona. A man sneezes in Wuhan, China. And all of America is in panic. And the whole world. A man shakes a hand or touches his eyes in Wuhan, China. And you touch him. And you touch your eyes. And the heavens in Israel are closed. And the whole market is transformed. Learn from the Corona. A little tiny germ, an invisible creature that you can't see. And literally, a guy sneezed in China, and the entire planet is in hysteria. And nobody knows if they're coming or they're going, if they're quarantined, if they're not quarantined. We might have to stay here for a couple of weeks. Farbrengen. You never know what happens in the next few hours. Nicht gefährlich. What did Rabbi Jacobson say? Besser zu sein in Gehenna mit Yidden, wie zu sein in Gan Eden allein. Better to be in purgatory together with Jews than to be in paradise alone. Because if you're in purgatory with Jews, it's a shena shtickle Gan Eden. And if you're in Gan Eden alone, it's a shtickle Gehenna. There's people I know they're in Gan Eden, but they're alone. Nebuch. There's people I know they're in Gehenna, but they're together with others. It's nicht das Gehenna. You hear the Baron? So that's the idea. You don't have to change the world to change the world. You change one person and you change the world. And who can't? Who can say that I can't change one person? Every person can have a tremendous impact. So that's the Miyei Deyim Leiskazoi Sigat Lamalchus. Chayim, 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 Chayim. Chayiv inish lebesume bepuria adaloya. In Rama is da het het zo'n schlafen werden. Kannst du gaan schlafen, aber derweil bist du nicht geschlafen. Besume. The Rambam says, Ache yishtake v'yirodem mishikrusa. Lashon Rambam in Hilchas Megillah. V'yirodem, he should dremel ein. Drodem, dremel. Snooze, fall asleep. The Rambam, the oimik of the Rambam is that it was like Matan Torah. Purim is Kimu v'Kiblu. By Matan Torah was Parcha Nishmasa. So you go to sleep, it's Al Derech Parcha Nishmasa. That's what the Rambam means. That's how they touch the Rambam. L'chaim Reb Nachem. Say L'chaim for the whole Monroe. For ganz Kiryas Yoel. L'chaim for ganz Kiryas Yoel. Your alma mater. Sag L'chaim for ganz Kiryas Yoel. Tausend to Yidden. Sag L'chaim for say. 100,000 Yidden. Sag L'chaim for say. Und du sag L'chaim for ganz Stollen und ganz Karlin. Ganz Karlin und ganz Stollen. L'chaim. Und du sag L'chaim for ganz Bells. Du sag L'chaim for ganz Litter. For ganz Litter. ganz Litte, you say l'chaim. You say l'chaim for all the hippies in the world. All the hippies. All the bohemians. You can sagen l'chaim for ganz Bobbov. The whole Bobbov. And alle Yidden. That bell. Kwenkelt zich. Like one sneeze, the whole world changes. Maandag, it comes to a virus. It gives one sneeze from Elikus. Goes around the whole world. You don't see it, and the germs you do see. Who sees it? Bacteria you do see. It's invisible. You need microscopes. Microscope doesn't exist. Exist in a microscope. Hashem should help that as a result of the Purim Farbrengen, Rabbi Yaakov, and all the Rabbi Yaakovs in the world should start learning Chassidus every day. But Rabbi Yaakov can't learn it on his own because a gruntige kop, a briske kop, and he needs to understand. So we're extending an invitation here. Shir Chassidus, the Balatanya for Rabbi Yaakov, will have a seat in Mizrach for him to come, and then we'll know that the Purim Farbrengen had an impact. That's my bracha. He thinks he doesn't need it. The reason he thinks he doesn't need it shows you how much he needs it. The worst thing a person can have in life is, when you think you don't need something. It means you need it more than you ever imagined. But for that he needs 40 days. So that's my bracha to Rabbi Yaakov. Chassidim should also be geschmack. By us, there's no difference between Litvaks and Chassidim. We have everybody. We don't go these differences. No. By Maimed Har Sinai, it was everybody. We don't have differences. Emes? We have everybody there. There's no difference. No difference. Everybody is one. Kol Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh. Arevim means we're all guarantors. We're guarantors for each other. And the Baal Shem Tov said Arevim comes from the word mixed. Taruvis. All the Jewish people are mixed with each other. And Arevim comes from the word sweet. You hear? Arevim is sweet. So he says, Yed Yid is Zizba Ananda Yid. Every Jew is sweet by another Jew. When you see a Jew, you see sweetness. Because we're all Arevim, we're all mixed in together, we're one, and therefore we're guarantors. You understand? That's the Yesod. So I'll tell you a little Maisela. Reb Mendel Futefas used to tell the story. It's a sharp story. It's a very sharp story. But it's already later at night. The Olam is starting to Farbrengen, so I'll tell the story. Reb Shalom sagt l'chaim. Whoever is joining us here, virtually, alive, everyone say l'chaim. And give a bracha to the person near you. Everybody give a bracha. Ah, it's gut geweckt. Everybody give a bracha to the person near you. Amen. The people who are watching live, the people who are here physically, the people who are here with us virtually, say l'chaim. Give yourself a blessing. Give people near you a blessing. L'chaim, l'chaim. Kamatem. Was gewollt Braches. May Kurias Kula. I want to give everybody a bracha on this Purim Tovshin Pei. Tovshin Pei stands for Teheshnas Purim. So the whole year is Purim, Teheshnas Purim, especially on Purim. Teheshnas Purim, it should be a year of Adalayada, of Purim. Everybody should have bracha and atzlocha, ad blidai, in oifen of Adalayada, meaning bracha and atzlocha beyond your imagination, Adalayada, with health, happiness, prosperity, nachas, nachas from your children and your grandchildren and your loved ones, and tremendous harchavas hadas, menuchas hanefesh, menuchas haguf, parnasa b'harchava, and ashidas b'harchava, and briyas guf and ahira malya, zara chaya v'kayama de la yifsik v'de la yiftum v'pizgama yeraisa. Hashem should fulfill everybody's heart's desires. Everybody's heart's desires in Gashmias and in Ruchnias. And it should all be B'toiv HaNirav HaNigla, which means visible and revealed goodness for you and for all of you, those who are connected to you. B'toich Klal Yisrael, L'arichas Yamim V'shanim Toivus, and everything you want and everything you need and everything you ask for shall be fulfilled. Like the Gemara says about Purim, Kol HaPoishet Yad, Nois Namoi. You just have to stretch out your hand. They say in the name of the Holy Ruzhin, the B'Sol Ruzhin, that if we say, the Zohar says, Yom HaKippurim is Kippurim. That means that Purim is higher than Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is Ki. It's like Purim. That means Purim is the main holiday, and Yom Kippur is like a semblance. So how do you explain this? So they say from the Ruzhin, Yom Kippur you have to do tshuva. Yom Kippur you have to show up with tshuva. Purim, he said, Kol HaPoishet Yad Noistamai. Purim, you stretch out your hand and you give it. That's the mile of Purim. Balatanya writes that Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to eat, you're not allowed to drink. You have to disengage from the material world. The Chiddush of Purim is, it's not Asar B'Malacha. Not only don't you fast, you're not allowed to fast. It's a Chiyuv Suda, it's a Chiyuv. In other words, the body comes with, the whole life becomes sublimated. It's not just your soul, your body too. The physical and the spiritual. So in ways deeper than Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur were like Malachim. Purim, you're a mensch and you're still a Malach. It's a whole different idea. In other words, you could completely embrace your identity and realize that your Gashmi is Eichelakus. So Mele Kol HaPoishet Yad, we should be able to open our hands, open your hands, and nice them like. The Ebershter soll geben and geben and geben and geben, ad blidai, l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, look who the wind blew in. The night is yet young, huh? For alle energy healers. For alle energy healers. Say l'chaim for the whole recovery community in Florida. the whole recovery community. Amen. Not only in Florida, the world over. They should have the strength to overcome all the challenges. To receive life. Rabbi Avram. Sigat Lamalchas. Wie idea? Kayach Rebnocha. Let me hear your voice. Your voice is sweet and your face is gorgeous. It's a verse in the Song of Songs. God says, I want to hear your voice. The herst, koilech orev umarech nova. The herst, your voice is sweet and your face is gorgeous. As is on the Eberstein. Hashmiyini es koilech. Come Rabbi Shachtel Reb Zera. The Gemara says Rabbi and Reb Zera made a meal. Ifsum. They had besumah, and Rabbi stood up and he slaughtered Reb Zera. The next day, he davened for him and he came back to life. The next year, he asked him to do the Suda again. So the Bzeda said miracles don't happen always, and therefore he declined. The story from beginning to end is perplexing. Even if you're drunk, you kill somebody, you slaughter somebody else. And let's say you did. So he waits till tomorrow morning. Guy is dead. Let's Farbrengen. Geht schlafen. Tikkun Chatzois, Krishma Shalamite, Vasikin, Daf Yoimi. Lamachar, tomorrow. Get a mikveh. Guy died. It's not enough to sober you up. No, he waits for tomorrow. And then, the biggest pella is the next year. The next year, he says, let's do it again. I don't understand. Last year, you was a matzav of shvichas damim. You killed somebody. Stay away. And the Chayr Reb Zera should have looked at him and said, what are you... How do you dare? How dare? He says, no, I would love to. Problem is, miracles don't always happen. If I knew a miracle would happen, gesundheit. So it was one year, the Shabbos after Purim. I was younger than I am today, but older than I was before that. I heard from the Rabbi, he said this is a story from the Gemara. And he said that the meaning of the story is that the idea of Lebesuma Bepuria is not just physical drinking. Nichnas yayin yatsa soid. It's spiritual drinking. Rabbi poured out the secrets of Torah, pnimius of Torah, the essence of Torah. And it's not a contradiction to the physical drinking. They were physically drinking. But the physical drinking was just a conduit, it was just a facilitator, a trigger to be able to bring them to a place where the soul opened up completely and the fountains of wisdom and spiritual enlightenment were opened, and the deepest pnimius of all Torah came out. Rabbi, the word Rabbi means greatness. The word Zera means smallness. So he says, come Rabbi. So Rabbi stood up, but he killed him standing, not sitting. He says, come Rabbi. In the middle of this Suda of Purim, there was such revelations of godliness, of infinity. Come Rabbi, even for Rabbi, it was Rabbi rose. Shachtel Reb Zera. The Gemara says, Ein in Chulin Daf Lamed, Ein v'shachat elo mashach. V'shachat in Hebrew doesn't only mean slaughter, it means to draw. To draw. That's how we know that shchita, you can't just stab. Right? Stabbing disqualifies the animal. It's called nechira. You have to draw. Ein v'shachat elo mashach. Kam Rabbi v'shachtel Reb Zera. He drew Reb Zera into that level of infinity, and he said, Reb Zera died. He died. Similar to Nadav and Avihu. The Rechaim says, Achrei mois shnei bnei Aaron bekarvasim lefnei Hashem vayamusam. He says, Nadav and Avihu, they kissed God, and they passed away because their physical container could not hold that level of voltage of oir. The oir was deeper than the keli. So Rabbi himself was Rabbi. His kelim were bigger, so he could hold it. But Reb Zera, his kelim weren't so big. The Gemara says Zera is called Zera because he shrunk. So Reb Zera passed away. It was too many giluyim of Ein Sof. He couldn't contain it, and that's v'shachte. So he just slaughtered. It wasn't with a knife. Ein v'shachat elo mashal. Like when you shecht a behemoth, you don't just shecht it. You pull it up to the real purpose of shechita is to be able to eat it, to make a bracha on it, and eat it with kavanah l'shem shemayim, and then the meat becomes divine, part of Suda Shabbos, part of a mitzvah. V'shachtel Reb Zera. And Rabbi wasn't. It was amazing. They touched the infinite. That's Purim, the machar. It's already after Purim. It's a new avodah. Now is the avodah of yada, not adalay yada. The kavanah is not to stay up there. God wants the neshama down there. So he davened. The neshama came back. V'achi. Next year Purim, Rabbi didn't regret it. Adarabba. It's like the avodah of Purim. Let's do it again. The Zera said, I'd love to. But miracles don't always happen. I don't know if my soul is going to be ready to come down again. And the kavanah is to stay down here, not to run up there. So therefore, I'm sorry. I can't accept it. Because the ultimate kavanah of Purim is that the Adlai Yada should be Neshama Beguf. To go to pre-Eitz Hadas within post-Eitz Hadas. That you have to work with your being, with your existence. But that's the word. Come Rabbi v'shachtel Reb Zera. A taitcha. Das habe ich allein gehört von Rabbi. Shabbos Parshas. Right after Purim. I think Tovshin Memhei. 84, 85. Memdalad. 1984. Huh? I think Sav and Shmini maybe. Huh? Shmini Tazri. I still remember the silence in 770 when the Rebbe said the Sikha. It was like when he asked the questions, you could cut the silence with a knife. The idol was so transfixed. It was such electricity when the Rebbe asked the questions and he gave the answer. He told 3 stories. One was a story about the Mordecai Rebbe. And he said, I remember about that. He said, tell a story about the Mordecai. Remember, he said, Azeda from the Heintika Mordecai. The Zayda of the Mordecai then. That Mordecai Rebbe passed away a few months later in 84, in the spring year. This was a Zayda of the Mordecai Rebbe then. Remember, he said that everybody knows that Mordecai had a große koyach in the Gina, had a tremendous musical talent. The Mordecai Rebbe needed an operation. He went to Berlin, but the operation was too serious, it was too dangerous and too painful, so they needed anesthesia. But they felt he won't be able to survive the anesthesia. It's too risky. So he told them that he's going to compose a song and he's going to sing it. And when they see that he's in the middle of the song, they could do the surgery. And the Kachava, remember the Rebbe said that he heard the Maisa from Polish Chassidim, he heard the Maisa from Chassidim in Poland, and he composed the Niggin. The Rebbe didn't say which Niggin, but in Madritz it's known, I think it's Eila Esker. They sing it in Madritz only on his yard site. Yud Gimel Kislev, I think his yard site is Yud Gimel Kislev. The Divrei Yisrael, I think, yeah? Rabbi Yisrael Tam, beweist der Mais? Rabbi Yisrael, yeah? Eila Esker, yeah? Esker. I think they sing it only Yom Kippur and Yud Gimel Kislev, his yard site. It has a tremendous amount of stanzas, 36 stanzas. You can't them again. You will to sing again. 36 stanzas the Niggin has. They did the surgery, and I remember there was a V'kachava. He sang it. They looked. They saw that he's in a different world. They did the surgery, and he lived years later. He lived for many years after. They had to take off a foot, yeah? Amputate a foot. So the Rebbe was bringing out, I remember he said that even in our times, this is a pchin of shachtel and abzeda. Even though he was physically alive, it wasn't death, but it was a concept that a Jew could transport himself to a place where physical sensation wasn't part of it. Then he told a second story about the Balatanya, and a third story about the Rebbe Rashab. The story about the Balatanya was that he used to learn B'chavrusa with Rabbi Avram HaMalach. The Maggid of Mezrich had a son, Rabbi Avram the angel. They used to learn every day. When the Balatanya came, they became Chavrusas. Their Maggid made them Chavrusa with Rabbi Avram. The Balatanya would teach him Nigla, Gemara and Halacha. Rabbi Avram HaMalach would teach the Balatanya Kabbalah. 3 hours each. 3 hours, 6 hours a day. The Balatanya enjoyed so much learning of Rabbi HaMalach, he used to turn the clock back. So the angel didn't realize that 3 hours are up. And he said that the extra time was the best. Because the pasuk says, Mayim gnuvim yim taku. The sweetest water is the water that's stolen. You know? The illegal water. Mayim gnuvim yim taku. The Zohar says, Loi signev, after Loi there's a psik, or sometimes signev. Sometimes you have to steal. When it comes to Torah, steal a few minutes from your work to learn, etc. So Rabbi Malach, he was an abstract man, so he could change the clock. One time, the Balatanya finished learning with Rabbi Malach. Rabbi Malach was mamash an angel. He was a Kaddish Elyon. And somebody sees the Balatanya after the shir. He's eating a bagel mit putter, a bagel with butter, which was completely uncharacteristic. They never saw such a thing, eating a bagel with butter. So they asked him what happened. So he said that after the shir with Avraham HaMalach, he felt that his soul is not going to stay here. It's going to expire, it's going to go up. And he needed something very physical to hold the soul down. So a bagel wasn't enough. He needed a bagel with the shamnuniyas, with the fat of butter, to keep his neshama down. The third story he said was The fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe was the Rebbe Rashab, Reb Shalom Dov Ber, whose 100th yahrzeit is going to be in a few days in Beis Nissen. 2nd of Nissen is the 100th Yom HaYilula, the yahrzeit of the Rebbe Rashab, passed away in Rostov by the Don River, 1920, 100 years ago. So he was once in Menton. You know where Menton is? Menton is in France. It's one of the resort cities in France, I think in the Riviera, by the Riviera. He was in Menton. He was staying in a hotel, and his son, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, was out, and he came back to the hotel, and he went into his father's room, and he saw that his father is sitting on the couch, but he's not. He felt that he wasn't there. He was like in a trance. He came back a few hours later, same thing, and a few hours later, it was like a whole day. He was just sitting in a trance. Came back a few times. Finally, he came back, and his father came out, and he started to ask him questions. The Rebbe said that he heard from his father-in-law that from the questions, it was noticeable that he didn't know which day in the week it was, which day in the month it was, where they were, what they were doing there. He was basically asking him questions to figure out everything. The Rebbe said then, Yesh Oimrim, some people say that in those moments he developed the foundations for what's known in Chabad as Hemshech Tofresh Ayin Beis. Hemshech Tofresh Ayin Beis is considered the deepest Hemshech, the deepest series of Maimonim in Chabad Chassidus, that he began Shavuos 72, Shavuos 1912, Tofresh Ayin Beis, and it went on for a few years. It's 3 very big volumes, hundreds of Maimonim, all a series, one series. It went on for years. And the foundation of those ideas, some say, were in Menton. So he was physically there, but mentally, he was completely in a different place. So these were the 3 stories to bring out the concept of Shachtel Reb Zayda, the way it applies even in our times. The Chachma was flowing, and there was no I. You lose yourself. And some year later, I guess. But that was a moment of transcendence. So that's all the way it is in the world of Emes. And then there is the way one has to apply it to their own life. Reb Mendel Futterfass used to tell a Maisa. It's a little bit of a sharp story. It's a sharp story. Shachtel Reb Zayda. We once touched, Rabbi means greatness, Reb Zayda means smallness. On Purim, your greatness has to eliminate your smallness. Your inner greatness has to say goodbye to your smallness. People often look at themselves as very small. Your Rabbi, your true greatness has to, the gadlus darf shechten the katnus. The gadlus hamoichen has to shecht the katnus hamoich. Your real greatness has to get rid of the pettiness, the smallness. The little stuff, that we sweat and it holds us back. The ego and the traumas and the insecurities, and they're really big. They're big from our perception, but they're like really small. It's not just that they're small, they make us small. That's the main thing. They're small because they make us small. They're pretty big, but they make us small. So your greatness, your Rabbi has to stand up and say enough. Schachtel Reb Zayda. Der Herr der Basil, der Hessisch, was tut sich? Schlafst. Der both nodding as in the middle of their sleep. They made the machen as so nach der Schitte. So far der Schitte. Ah? What? The Beis Halevi, the Yashaber. The Beis Halevi. Yeah? The Yashaber from Brisk. Same story. He says, "Zot from Beis Halevi, the Yosef Deva Halevi Soloveitchik. They're off from Slutsk, they're off from Brisk, they're from Valozhin." He says, "It's reingelegt in learner," and he didn't fail. Huh? And he didn't fail. Huh? He's good. This is a shachte de kamaise. It's a marshal. The Hesed B'Nuchem. The Mendel told us meise. The Yaakov is noch da. The Baal Am Negunim. Huh? Vayhi ayoim, there was a bird. There was a bird. And you know birds, you ever see the birds? They migrate together. They fly together from one location to another location because together they balance out the air pressure and they can handle the climate. Yeah, you never see the birds go b'chabura? Yeah. It's just achtos. When you're together, you balance out the different problems and it keeps them safe and protected and they can go very far. And it's a ga'oinus how they do it. I don't know if you know, it's a ga'oinus. Huh? The Canadian geese. They have a whole shape. It's a whole mahalach. It's like a parade. And they know exactly, yeah. And together they do it with a particular speed. The front go to the back, and the back go to the front, and the middle, and together they balance out the matzav that they should have a safe migration. It's incredible. How they know this? Yeah. Yeah. The friction. Yeah, they move together much faster, yeah. Yeah. Vayhi ayoim, there was a bird. The bird was kratzing a little bit, and it missed the chabura. It missed the shear. It happens, the bird was a kratzer and a procrastinator. And the bird liked to sleep a little bit. And it missed the shear. And the bird realized it's alone. All the birds left already. But here the bird won't survive. The bird knew it needed to migrate to a warmer spot. So it had to do it alone. So the bird traveled alone. But when you're alone, it's not good. You're vulnerable. You're vulnerable. You're vulnerable to predators. You're vulnerable to storms. You're vulnerable to challenging weather, to rain and thunder and climate change, etc., etc. And the bird worked very, very hard to prevail, to go where it has to go. But it was being slowed down by every new downpour. And then came a thunderstorm with ice and rain and snow and hail. And the icicles were just falling on the bird's frail body. And she couldn't hold it up anymore. She was taken down like this note, taken down all the way. into an abyss, a deep raven, a deep ditch, and she was covered with layers of ice and cold and rain. And that's it. She couldn't budge. She was paralyzed and stuck in this abyss. And it seemed like the end of a glorious life. No. As she's there, buried under the ice in despair and depression, a horse comes by. And the horse needs to release itself. So the horse releases itself, and it happens to be that it's on top of where the bird is stuck. And the warmth that comes from the horse's hot water or other substances slowly melts the ice. One layer melts, and that day, Baruch Hashem, the horse had a lot to give. So the horse let it all out, and the ice melted. The ice melted away completely. And suddenly, unexpected, the bird is free. The ice is gone. The bird is feeling warmth. The bird is feeling love. The bird is feeling emancipated. And the bird is so excited. So what does she do? She starts singing. Singing to celebrate the matzah. There's a fox walking by, and he's starving. And he smells a prey here. Problem is, there's layers of excrement of the horse on top of the bird. There's no ice, but there's other stuff. So the fox starts licking it up. Licks and licks and licks and licks and licks and licks and licks. Finally makes a path and goes down to the bird. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, moitzi lechem min haaretz, and eats up the little bird. It's the end of the story. So the Mendel Futterfass finished the story. And he said, Chevra, you learn from the story 3 things. I'll say it in Yiddish the way he said it, and then I'll try to translate it. Listen to the 3 lessons in life. Lesson number 1. Nicht jeder eine, was leckt dir, sucht dein Teufe. Not everybody who's licking you likes you and is interested in you. Lesson number 2. Nicht jeder eine, was kackt auf dir, sucht dir Charav machen. Not everybody who defecates on you is trying to destroy you. Sometimes it's the other way around. The guy who's licking you is just looking for a good meal. And the one who defecates on you is actually saving your life. He's saving your life. He's releasing you. Lesson number 3. Und als du liegst in Dreck, was singst du? And when you're submerged in Soya, What are you singing for? Get out of there, fly away, don't sing. If the bird wouldn't sing, the fox wouldn't tear. Those were 3 lessons we heard from Reb Mendel Futterfass. And that's how he would teach young people how to live, how to think. In life, there's going to be people who will challenge you. Right? Sometimes it's your wife. No. Sometimes it's your children. Sometimes it's a good friend. Sometimes it's a stranger. And the first thing you want to do is you want to hate them and run away from them. They may be saving your life. They may be melting away all the ice that you're buried under. You're in ice. You're a cold nebuch. You're dying from frostbite. They'll melt it away. Then there's people who come and they lick. Kennst du Chevron of Shalom? They lecken and lecken and lecken and lecken. And you're all excited about them. They just want to kill you. They just want to eat you. They just want something from you. Don't get so excited. Don't run away from people who shoot one type of comment, and don't run towards people who shoot a different comment. It's not always how it seems. The last lesson is you got to know when to sing. When you're buried in certain substances, sing still. Clean yourself up. A good to Maisa? Huh? Why is it a good story? It's a good story because it's real. You can't hear such a story from a Rebbe. You can hear such a story from a Chassid. A Rebbe doesn't say such a story because it's not Shaykh. A real Rebbe is the bottle to Ein Sof. But a Chassid who knows what it looks like, what Saya looks like, he could say such a story. Huh? What's it mean? It means Siberia 10 years, yeah. It's probably a story you heard in Siberia. He heard a lot of stories there. But what's the point? We asked before, how could you have Adla Yada? You have an ego, Yetzadas, Yeshus. That's the Vart. That when you learn Chassidus, B'pnimiyas, B'emes, doesn't take away your Yetzirah and your ego. But it gives you perspective. We spoke about 2 people who are in a sandbox. 2 people who are playing with the same filth. But one person says, give me more. And one person says, it smells, get me out of here. They're both playing there. And they're both, a certain part is enjoying it. But one person has perspective. Get me out of this place. Even if he doesn't leave. He understands that there's something that smells. Don't celebrate your filth. Don't celebrate your foolishness. Don't celebrate your yeshus. It's there. You have to understand it. Maybe you even have to respect it to a certain degree. It's part of your reality. You have to give it its place. But don't worship it. You could make a choice because there's awareness of what it is. But if you think that the sandbox is Gan Eden, so Nebuch, you say, give me more, give me more, give me more. Chassidus gives you the perspective, the freedom to have perspective. Once you have perspective, you could choose. If you don't have perspective, you can't choose. Verstehst oder nicht? Was singst du? This is a story for the Yaakov who was I'm in dirt, but you don't have to celebrate it. It's there, but now you could choose. You don't have to dance with it. You could put it in its place. Let it be. Das is the Eitzadas, Haman. But you have a choice. because you know that there's something that's beyond knowledge. And then you can choose. Maybe sometimes you won't choose the right way, but at least you have the option. You have the openness to choose. You're not stuck because you know that there's something else. But if you don't know that there's something else, that's what trauma does to so many people. They don't know there's anything else. That's what we spoke about before. You think this is it. If this is it, I can't even respond any other way. I only have one way to respond. Whether it's anger, frustration, jealousy, depression, angst, you understand, distress. I have to go to my addictions, I have to go binge. I don't even know of another way. This is the default mode. I'm triggered, and boom, I go into default mode. There's no bchira. Why is there no bchira? Because this is my only reality. So I start singing. I'm singing. Was singst du? You don't accept it ba'ava because you know that you're not bound by it. You're not in shackles. At least the knowledge that there's another path can create a new reality slowly. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. But for that, you have to be able to say, there's another way your brain can go. And sometimes the brain doesn't know there's another way because the neural pathways, the brain has different parts to it. There's the nefesh habahamis, the nefesh halikis. And if certain neural pathways are not cultivated, pashut in neuroscience, your brain doesn't know about it. So there's only one available option. There's one path. What did Yogi Berra say? When you come to a fork, take it. The rest, when you come to a fork, take it. But you have to be able to see that there's a fork. A fork means there's two ways, there's two drachim. Re'ei nasati lefanecha. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Achayim v'amavos u'bacharta b'chayim." You have to be able to see. If you don't see that there's two pathways, how can you even choose? Before b'chira, you have to be able to see it. If I don't see it, so this is my only reality. So this is where I sing. Nabach. Yeah. But it says yeschem metachas civilus mitzrayim. Tight from the Svasemis, yeah, civilus. I'll take you out from being soivel mitzrayim. You won't be tolerated anymore. It smells. It smells. I don't want to. There's something better for me. It's schmeckt. I don't want to daven here. You sing when you get out, you'll sing. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be here. Even if I have to be here for a while, but I'm not going to make this my the center of my life, my base tefillah, yikareh l'chol ha'amim. Elikt and soya, that's not where a bird belongs. A bird has to fly. You have to be here, fine, you have to deal with it, but don't turn this into your... So this is what I told you earlier. The Biel was once Farbrengen. We were bachrim in yeshiva, so the Biel Khan was saying, what's the difference? A Yid learns chassidus, a Yid doesn't learn chassidus. You think one person has an ego, the other person doesn't have an ego. It doesn't work that way. Everybody has Yetzer Haras. The difference is, he said, two kids are in a sandbox with filth. And one person says, yeah, give me more. And the other one says, something smells, get me out of here. He may not get out of here, he likes the sandbox. But there's perspective. Verstehst du? The perspective. And that's a Stein as a dinte meibestim with the yeshes. The smelly yeshes. Sometimes yeshes smells. I don't know if you're sensitive, but yeshes smells. What does it smell from? It smells from sitra achera. There's no elikus. You can right away hear. I don't know if you guys are sensitive enough. If you have a sensitive soul, you hear right away if the words are filled with achdus Hashem or not. You have the hostat in them. Dein ganze Leben hast du das Gefühl, but you didn't know what. Jetzt kannst du geben Eisius, right? Somebody speaks, they could say the Eberster 100 times, aber es schmeckt. Why? Because there's no Achdas Hashem there. You don't feel the bittul to the Ein Sof. They may not even be guilty. It's not about judgment. They're doing the best they can. He doesn't have better. Zinkt, liegt in Tzaya and zinkt. He doesn't know better. It's not a fault. It's Tinekas Shenishbu. Person speaks and speaks about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Purim, Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, aber es ist nicht in Eberster. Zich, my shleimus, my olam haba, my olam haba, more olam haba for me, more godless. I'll be a bigger godl, I'll be a bigger, shall be more perfect and more great and more olam haba and even more olam haba and then more godless and then more covered and more ich and more ich and more me and more me and more me. And then I'll have the real ultimate me and the ultimate shlem and the ultimate schach. And you want to like, And it's not that people who are sensitive, they know something is off here. What's off? The person never learned Chassidus, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that what by him is the peak. Yeah, is really, it's muktzah machmas miyas. There's no lakus, there's no bittul. You need bittul. The person who learns doesn't have bittul. It could be the same yesh, maybe even worse, because yedeya is riboinai. The Gemara says, "Am ya'aretz talmidei chacham is doinus, yeah, shgagas akis doinus." Acher sheyada b'chvaydi amarad bi. In other words, that you know it's a fakert, but you're playing in Tzaya, so you know that this is not where a person is. And you have a different hasaga of godless. What's pshat godless? Godl, what's pshat a godl, a godless, a tzaddik? There's a famous story. It's also a very deep story. Ich habe es a schachtel in the story. Halt noch kap, huh? Halt noch kap. Chaim. It's a story. It's a geschmack amaisa. There was a Yid. It's a story. I don't know if it's fiction or real, but the vart is a vart. It's a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek. And that's the story it goes. It's a story I read somewhere once. I don't know if it's a story is authentic or it's a marshal, but the teichen is very powerful. And he was in the house of a maskil. A maskil was this enlightened Jew. And this Jew, he was talking at a dinner, and he was saying that all the Rebbes are basically con artists. Nochalim, yeah. They just take the money, the name of miracles and davening and kvitlach, you know, it's all con artists. Okay. Now, there are some people who are con artists. There's such a thing. And he started to speak about the Tzemach Tzedek. So there was a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek there, so they asked him, what's your opinion? They thought he'll get into an argument. You know. So he tells the fellow, he says, Grada, you remind me of my grandmother's cow. Grandmother's cow? So I'll tell you. My grandmother had a cow. The cow was a very good cow. She used to give milk every day. And the cow and my grandmother had a very special connection. They respected each other, they appreciated each other, and they felt for each other because they benefited so much from each other. My grandmother took care of the cow beautifully. All her needs were met. Al tzad hayoseh tov. There was one treat the cow used to get. B'tzoi Shabbos, my grandmother would wash the dishes with water. The cholent pot, the soup pot, the chicken, the meat. So you know when you wash a cholent pot with water, the water has all the black sediments and pieces of the cholent. And at night, my grandmother would always give the cow a pail of water, a bucket of water to drink before she goes to sleep. But Motzai Shabbos, my grandmother would give this dirty, murky, black water that was filled with kugel and schmaltz and oil and shungund and potato, and the cow would drink it, and this was like Suda's Purim. Suda Shlomo B'Shaita. And all week the cow would wait for this Malava Malka. It was an unbelievable treat. Vayhi Ayoim, it was Motzai Shabbos, and it was also Yom Tov. So my grandmother was busy making Yom Tov, and she forgot. And the water that she used to wash the pot, she spilled out. And it came at night, you had to give the cow water. She gave the cow clean, beautiful water from the well. It wasn't black, it wasn't dirty, it wasn't murky. The cow didn't know that it was Yom Tov and that she forgot. So the cow was looking forward from Lava Malka. Cow puts the hen in water. Shahakal niya b'dvarei. And Rachmana litzlan, it's drinking clean, fresh water. Cow got so upset. The cow starts thinking, Mayim, what happened to Malava Malka? What happened to the water, the beautiful, delicious, murky, dirty, filthy water? The cow didn't know. Nobody told the cow that it's Shabbos and Yom Tov and Yak Nahaz, and the grandmother forgot. Nobody told him. So the cow starts speculating what could be the issue. The cow realized what it was. The cow said, apparently, my grandmother, the boss, the woman of the house, became jealous of the Malava Malka that I had every week. And she decided to take the water for herself. She doesn't want me to have the water. And then the cow grows resentful and thinks, the chutzpah from a woman. All my life I serve her loyally. And look what she does. She can't tolerate that I get this water once a week. She has to take it for herself. And he looks at the man and he says, since that day, the cow did not speak to my grandmother ever again. Severed all ties and relationships. And the friendship was gone forever. And the cow died with anger and frustration at this woman who could not fagin and tolerate her Malava Malka water with cholent and kugel and Yerushalmi kugel and jalapeno herring schmaltz inside. And he looked at this Jew and he said, and from the cow's perspective, she's completely right. The greatest pleasure in life is dirty water with some cholent leftovers inside. And she is obvious, certain, that if she loves this, everybody loves this. And therefore, if the grandmother didn't give it to her, it's because she took it for herself. And the tragedy is not that she feels this way. It's that she can't even imagine that there's a whole other way of looking at it. Because this is her world. She can't imagine that what you define as the most delicious water, some people define as the most disgusting, repulsive water in the world. And you're getting angry, and you're traumatized, and you're frustrated, and you die angry because of your narrow perceptions of reality that define reality. And he looked at him and he said, in your world, everything is money. There's nothing else. You can't even imagine that there should be a Jew for whom everything is not money. You can't imagine. It's not your fault. You can't imagine. He says, you're like my grandmother's cow. Gezai masbir. Go be masbir. That what you call the ultimate of life for some people doesn't mean anything. He said, I don't blame you. You're like my grandmother's cow. And the truth is, it's so powerful because it's the story of so many people's lives. We get angry and frustrated, and sometimes depressed I'm experiencing all this negative, toxic energy towards certain people because you took my water. And I live in that world, and I'm convinced that this is the right world, this is the real world. And I'm angry at you. You don't even know why I'm angry at you. Because in my world, this is certainly how everything operates, and you are certainly part of my orbit. And sometimes it's true about greatness. A person who never learned the real emes inyan of Einaid Mulvade, of Achdus Hashem, of Ein Sof, he can't even have a hasaga. He can't even have a great comprehension in an experience that's beyond his or her orbit. This for me is everything. The dirty water Mitzvah Shabbos. I don't even understand anything else. It's not my fault. So people think, what's greatness? Greatness is, I get this water once a week and you get this water every night. But their paradigm is completely off. Why? Not their fault. They were never typhus that there's a whole world where this water is completely insignificant. The world of real truth, the world of emes, real infinity, the world of Ein Sof. Yeah. When you learn Chassidus, B'Pnimius, you see that there's such a world. You may not relate to it, but Kenzenas das a Welt, it's a world. You see what truth is, you see what real greatness is. The behemoth, all she can do is this type of water, that type of water. More greatness, more greatness. And Alter Rebbe says in the Maimonim that the word godless is already the problem. The word greatness is already the problem. You're looking for greatness. The greatness is the worst problem. So it opens a person up. Then you can make choices, but it opens you up. And that's what the Vart I said before. Chassidus hat weggenommen den Nar von der Welt. A person could be a Nar. They may be intelligent. Technically, they may be intelligent. But there's a primitiveness, there's a smallness, there's a zeta, a smallness at the core. And it's not my fault. Nobody ever taught me that there's a real world of Achdus Hashem. So everything is defined by my behemische glasses. This type of water, this type of dirty water, this type of dirty water. And even my God, my Hashem is defined by that. Because that's it there is. So when a person could open himself up to Ada Lo Yada, to that which I don't know, and you become comfortable with that, then you could do bchira, you can have bchira, you could choose. Reise v'kodesh brichu kol echad. Of Hashem. Yeah. 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 Even when a person learns Torah on the most basic, concrete level, it's divine. It's divine Chachma. Ja. Gesundheit. Zijn afredige Purim, een afredige jaar. De lebesumme bepuria Ada Lo Yada should be nimshach, should be communicated into everybody's life, to be able to live life to the fullest with passion and love and awe and simchas hachayim. Bepnimius, bechitzonius, and to be able to be at mamshach a whole year and to be able to give it to other people and to be able to maximize the full energy of your soul, which is a chelik elokam imal, and to be able to bring it into the animal soul, into the guf, into your whole life, with tremendous harchava. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. L'chaim, and Aftelech, and Purim, and a guten Yom Tov, and a guten Tamid. It should be a year of Teishnas Purim, Teishnas Faratzta, and Teishnas Pedus, redemption. Inner redemption and outer and collective redemption. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. B'karav mamash, l'chaim, l'chaim. Whoever has to make a bracha achreina, wird sich machen a bracha achreina. There's a sefer they bring that the Ramah was the Rav of Krakow, Rabbeinu Moshe Isserlish. They say that Purim night, he would dress up like a beggar, and he would go from house to house, and by the Suda later, and he asked if the Olam Daven Maidev. And that's how he would remind people to Daven Maidev, but so he put him, because he knew a lot of people would forget. He would go around, Daven Maidev. He already davened, but it was his way. He was like a beggar going to collect footstock, and he would ask people if they Daven Maidev. And that's how we would remind people. So I'm saying whoever didn't make a bracha achreina, whoever has to make a bracha, will make a bracha achreina. Nee. Leva Ivri. I want to thank Shmuley Niaza for the video production. Shmuley Niaza. Rafal Hausman and his brother for the whole production, and Fitcher Ben Shimon for the music, and Nuchem Fried for the ganze Matzev.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.